And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very happy Memorial Day on this beautiful Monday afternoon for baseball. Today we honor the fallen men and women who have served our great country in our armed forces. And this Memorial Day, USPBL hat giveaway and $1 day here at Jimmy John's Field. It will be the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers taking on the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Hi, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Leo Ortel alongside Rich Borland to bring you the call on this beautiful Monday. In this Western Division matchup, the Beavers and the Mammoths have been the two struggling teams so far this season, as they are the only two teams in the league with a losing record. Chris Newell's Beavers entered the ballgame with a 2-4 record overall, and Mark Wiedemeyer's Mammoths enter at 2-5 overall. If you remember back to this past Thursday on May the 23rd, these two teams met for the first time so far this season. Thankfully for the Mammoths, their early season offensive slump ceased as they put up 10 runs on 14 hits against the Beavers. Also led by their starting pitcher Philip Walby, the Mammoths ended up victorious with a final score of 10-3. Yesterday, it was the Eastside Diamond Hoppers in action against the Westside Woolly Mammoths. In a game plagued by rain, we saw just about everything in the extra inning afternoon affair. It was all knotted up at once, headed into the 8th, and we thought the game was over after the Hoppers put up a 3-spot that same inning. However, the Mammoths fought back with 1 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, and in that 9th inning were 1 hit away from winning the game with the bases loaded. Unfortunately for the Mammoths, Ethan Whisker did strike out with the bases loaded to end the inning. The Hoppers, the next inning, ended up gaining the lead with a 5-spot in the 10th. The Mammoths scored just 1 in the 9th and ended up falling to the Hoppers 9-5 in the thriller. Both teams entered the third game of the week, so it will be interesting to see what is in store today. The Beavers will send their lengthy 6'9" right-handed starting pitcher Austin Steinfurt to the mound for his third start of the season. A local product from St. Clair Shores has pitched well this season, posting a 2.53 ERA in 11 innings of work and earning one of the 2 wins for the Beavers this season. For the Mammoths, it will be the right-hander Clifton Landis III, making his 4th start this year. He has so far thrown 11 innings, struck out 11 batters, and posted a 4.85 ERA. For a guy that worked primarily as a reliever in college, Landis is still transitioning into his role as a starting pitcher. For the back-to-back USPBL champion Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, they haven't started the season how they may have wanted to. They will look to up their 2.43 team batting average and lower their 4.15 team ERA this afternoon. Since entering the league back in 2017, the Mammoths have finished last place in the regular season each year. Although they did make the championship game back in 2017, they were no match for the powerhouse in the Beavers. So before we get the national anthem underway here at Memorial Day, I'm going to send it over right now to my broadcast partner, Rich Borland. Rich, what can we expect between these two teams today?
Yeah, obviously both of these teams not with the start that they want through the first couple of weekends. You got to look at the bright spots, though. The Beavers with a couple of guys at the top of their rotation. Obviously, they have Jerry Salisbury doing a good job so far on this season. Also, a bright spot has been Matt Dallas for this team in the back end of the bullpen, as he's been tremendous with the mid-90s stuff. Had the Brewers coming out looking at him the other day. And overall, the starter, though, Austin Steinfurt for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, he's got a 4-seam fastball, a curveball, a 2-seam fastball, and a changeup. Overall, though, you mentioned those numbers, the 2.53 ERA through 10 2/3 innings pitched in 2 starts. We weren't sure exactly what we were going to expect in terms of numbers-wise from Steinfurt, as he's coming to us from Rochester College, the Division III school around the area. And obviously D3 is nowhere close to Division I in the spectrum of baseball. But at the same time, you know, you've worked well enough to get to this stage, be on the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, and we'll see exactly what he can provide for us today. On the other end of it, Clifton Landis, he's got just that 3-pitch arsenal. The 4-seam fastball, he throws about 57% of the time. The splitter, he'll toss in there 23% of the time. And the 2-seam fastball, he'll toss in there about 20% of the time. So 3 fastballs for Landis. But that 4.85 ERA through the 13 innings he's thrown so far this year. Just the 0-1 record, but batters hitting .239 against him. He'll hope that that stays down today. But the Beavers definitely trying to redeem themselves, not just from the game on Thursday against the Mammoths, but also they had a slow weekend thus far offensively, as they were also trounced there by the Utica Unicorns when Dodd Goodson had just a tremendous day out on the bump on Friday night. But overall, the lineups as we're reading through them on the field as we speak. We'll start with the visiting Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. It'll be Ryan Kemp, the second baseman, batting first. Batting second, Nick Campana. He's the center fielder today, as the first baseman, Jack Haranek, will be batting third. Batting in the cleanup role today, the third baseman, number 13, TJ Ward. Batting as the designated hitter today, number 21, Caleb Longley. As the sixth hitter, Alec Olin, he's in left field this afternoon. Batting seventh, the catcher, Adam Gauthier, he's number 23. Batting eighth, Adon Ordonez, the shortstop. And then rounding out the Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver team, the Bloomfield Hills, Michigan native. That would be, of course, Todd Weiss. And then on the other end of it, for the Mammoths, Ryan Dobson, the shortstop. He moves up one spot from yesterday as he was batting second against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Sonny Cortez flips with him as he was the leadoff guy. He had 3 walks in the contest yesterday, but he gets moved down into the 2-hole as it'll be Ethan Whisker batting third. He gets moved up all the way from the 6th spot. Had those 2 singles yesterday, but did have that tough strikeout with the bases loaded with 2 outs in the home half of the 9th inning, which, of course, then the Hoppers put on the 5 spot in the top of the 10th to give themselves the big lead. As for the cleanup hitter, it'll be Stephen Wells Jr. He's at the first base bag today. He pinch hit in the game yesterday afternoon as he came in for Drew Kitson, who is not in the lineup today as he's battling a partial injury. Hopefully we'll see him at some point later on, but not going to be all too much there in terms of action for Drew Kitson this afternoon, most likely getting the full day off. As the designated hitter, Jake Polshan, he's batting in the 5 spot. He was 0 for 3 as the cleanup hitter yesterday. Batting 6th, that would be Jake Barbie. He pinch hit late in the contest yesterday for Jackson Smith, came in the 7th. He struck out looking to start his afternoon, but did have back-to-back doubles in the 9th and 10th innings and drove in a run, but of course that was not enough as the Mammoths lost their 5th game of the season. Javon Shelby's batting 7th. He's over at the hot corner today in the 7th spot yesterday. Went 0 for 5 with 3 groundouts and 2 strikeouts. Ryan Rivera drops from the 5th spot in the lineup down to the 8th. He was 1 for 4 yesterday. And then rounding out this lineup, the number 9 hitter, the second baseman, Steve Pasquale. Excited to see what happens on this Memorial Day contest as we're officially getting ready here, just about finished with the Mammoth order. Anything quick before we head down to the field there, Leo?
I think for just the Beavers, a slow week offensively for them. Before the games this week, they were hitting pretty well this year, but just to combine 3 runs in their first 2 games, one, of course, like you said, coming against the Mammoths back on the 23rd, and then they played back-to-back nights as they battled the Unicorns, and they were shut out by them on the 24th. And also the Mammoths just overall struggling offensively, hitting just .237 this year with 2 home runs, 27 RBIs. Their pitching hasn't been the best either. So 2 teams that need to turn their season around. We're just about to get underway with the national anthem here, so we'll take a break, and we'll be back shortly on the USPBL YouTube channel.
As we honor America and our military with the singing of our national anthem, sponsored by Detroit Medical Center DMC, and performed today by Elena Cosley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting
Spectacular pitch.
Welcome back, everybody. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. Tremendous day for baseball, weather-wise, as we get ready for another great day of baseball at Jimmy John's Field. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. The 2-4 Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers play the 2-5 Westside Woolly Mammoths as the two teams at the bottom of the standings trying to get out of the early season funk. It'll be Clifton Landis, the right-hander, doing the work there for the Westside Woolly Mammoths on the bump today. Of course, Landis, one of the hometown products here in the USPBL out of Carlton, Michigan, comes to us from Madonna University, as on the season thus far does have the 0-1 record and a 4.85 ERA through 3 starts. In 13 innings pitched, he's given up 11 hits, but here's the thing. With those 11 hits, I want to make this clear to everybody tuning in. All the hits that he's given up this year have been singles. So, not a fireballer off the mound there, but sometimes maybe the weak, or I should say not weak, but weaker in terms of velocity coming out of that right hand might not, lead to hard hit balls. So, a lot of singles given up for for Landis this year, but nothing has been able to make it in terms of an extra base hit. So that is one thing that the Mammoths have going for them, as their starter is officially ready to go in this one. Landis on the season, first pitches have been fairly even. 33 strikes, 24 balls, so you want to kind of differentiate that a bit. But we are officially ready for baseball. The Mammoths in their home Flintstone jerseys, and then the Beavers bringing out my favorite jersey that I've ever seen at the USPBL. First time they brought it out this year, and I believe the first time that I've seen it in, I don't know how many times I saw it last year. Not a lot, if any, but we are officially ready for baseball as our home plate umpire, Frank Barquette, taking a second behind home plate. Not sure what for. Maybe there's some people on the field still as we speak there behind home plate, but it looks as if we are officially ready for baseball here at Jimmy John's Field. Tremendous day as the sun is shining. It will be throughout the remainder of this game as Ryan Kemp, the Middle Tennessee State native, standing in at a stout 5'4". Don't hear that all too often as he takes the first pitch inside. It misses. First pitch right on time, 105, as it is a gorgeous 72 here in Utica, Michigan. Clifton Landis III, the Madonna product, trying to make a name for himself here with the Westside Woolly Mammoths as he gets the outside corner called for a strike. It's 1-1.
Ryan Kemp up there, definitely short in stature, but don't let that fool you. He's hitting .333 with a .500 on-base percentage.
This one, back up the middle, the shortstop Ryan Dobson makes the play with ease. 1 up and 1 down for the Beavers to start this one off. So it won't be Kemp that gets things going offensively for Chris Newell's lineup, as it'll hopefully be Nick Campana, who we mentioned been one of the best hitters in the league thus far this year, that .357 batting average. He was 10 for his first 21, but struggling a bit this weekend. But he gets off to a good start here this afternoon. First pitch swinging. He knows that Landis throws nothing but pretty much fastballs, so that obviously helps the approach at the plate. And the Beavers have their first man on, Nick Campana singling out to left. It was only a matter of time before he got back into the swing of things.
And for a guy like Clifton Landis out there, like you said, just throwing fastballs, the 4-seam, the splitter, and the 2-seam. So pretty much you don't have to guess necessarily the pitch type. He does change speeds slightly, but it's more about guessing location. Landis is going to be a guy that keeps the ball low in the strike zone, but Nick Campana takes advantage of a ball left over the heart of the plate. And it's going to be Jack Haranek, the left-hander standing in against Landis.
Yeah, Haranek, second-year player with the Beavers. This one into right center field. It looks like the Beavers' offense is ready today. Is Campana rounding second into third. Might be a close play at second. Haranek sliding in just in the nick of time. The big fella using everything he got there to get into scoring position, and the Beavers just cruising along here to start off this baseball game. Big single there from Campana that he pulled into left, and then Haranek pulling it a little bit himself as the left-hander into right center, as the timing of these hits have been good. Both of these men right on those baseballs, both hard line drives, as runners now on second and third. TJ Ward standing in. He was 2 for 4 with 2 singles on Saturday against the Unicorns, batting .300 even through his season thus far. Fastball at 84, missing inside. Ward having to bend out of the way of that one.
And the Beavers definitely need to get it going offensively. It's a good start for them here. They were led by their offense earlier in the season, but in their last 3 games, one of those was the suspended game, just a few runs overall.
Ward continues the hit parade, coming in to score his Campana. Haranek having to use a little bit more to come in, but he'll come in standing up, as 3 consecutive hits for the Beavers have given them the early 2-0 lead. Good sign there for Chris Newell's guys, who hadn't been doing all too much so far this weekend, but they take the 2-0 lead early on.
Now the Beavers obviously are up on that scouting report of Clifton Landis, who has pitched in 3 games so far this season, so making his 4th start. And it's a guy that, coming in to the league, they didn't know exactly what he would have, but the Beavers obviously know what he has, and it's paying off for them so far. Already 2 runs put up, just 1 out in the inning.
TJ Ward over there on first. He doesn't have any stolen bases on the year, no attempts either, so got to imagine that he'll just be going with the baseball as Caleb Longley stands in, one of just 2 Beavers that did not start in the game on Saturday. Him as well as Todd Weiss, who sits at the bottom of this lineup, ready for his opportunity today, as Longley looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. Longley with a .240 average through his 6 starts on the year. 6 for 25 with a run scored, a double, 6 RBIs to his credit. He's only got 1 walk, though, as he's a free swinger. Longley ready for the 1-0. That one well outside. As you see, Landis falling behind in this count to start against Longley.
Now Longley hitting just .240 this year, has driven in 6. Previously played for East Tennessee State University, Division I. 14 home runs for him in the 2018 season. He's in the 5 spot, but hasn't really showed off his power so far this year.
The 2-0 to Longley. That one missing downstairs. So Landis, who had no control issue through the first 4 batters, it was just the contact that he was allowing that was alarming. But here in this at-bat to Longley, 3 straight pitches out of the zone. Maybe the continuation of some rattledness there for Landis with the big hits early on. Already 2 runs compared to just the 1 out. As the 3-0 in there. Not sure where it missed. Might be a pinch high, but look good from up here, as now runners on first and second. As Ward gets into scoring position, Caleb Longley's first plate appearance of the day, he earns a walk.
Yeah, you just saw Jake Barbie, the catcher, go out to talk to him there, just to calm him down a little bit. It's not the start that Clifton Landis wanted. Doesn't seem to be in control here. Surprising to see him walk the batter. Most of his pitches were thrown in the strike zone the first 3 batters, but seemed to be just hanging them over the heart of the plate.
So Landis with a long look at second to TJ Ward. Brings in what looked to be an off-speed pitch. I saw on our stat sheet over in the room on the other side of the press box that it looked as if there was a 5% slider rate, but I was told by our Deputy Director of Baseball Operations, Mike Zielinski, that he didn't have anything other than the 4-seam, 2-seam, and splitter, but it looks as if he might be bringing that around occasionally as Alec Olin looks at the 1-0 offer. It's called strike 1.
And it's a guy that doesn't change speeds that much either, doesn't throw that fast as far as velocity, so I would like to see him maybe mix in that slider once in a while to try to throw off the timing of these hitters. something that he's going to have to do with the way that the Beavers are swinging the bat already.
Look to see that slider maybe again, as the 1-1 pitch looked good, just not enough there for home plate umpire Frank Barquette.
And probably going into the start, he didn't figure that he would have to break out the slider, so not really throwing it for a strike yet. Maybe just trying to get in the groove of throwing it, something that he might try to work on the rest of this inning and maybe in warm-ups before next inning. But it's something that he should use to just throw off the timing of the Beavers.
Meanwhile, the 85-mile-an-hour fastball in there, fouled off of the bat of Oland, off to the right. So the count evens up at 2-2. If you're the Mammoths, you're looking for nothing but a ground ball at this point that hopefully stays on the dirt. Maybe turn it into 2 as that pitch count for Landis rising up a bit as he looks in for the 2-2 sign. Pitch number 16 of the inning, flared out into shallow right field. Stephen Wells Jr. is not going to be able to get to it, sort of falling in that Bermuda Triangle, as we might see a runner caught at second here. Barbie with the toss, and it's too high for Dobson as he gets it just in the nick of time as it doesn't sail into center field. But the runner, T.J. Ward, got held up at third by Chris Newell, as Longley thought he was for sure going to make it to third base, but instead everybody moving up just 90 feet as the bases are now loaded. But not a bad idea for Chris Newell. You don't want to make any outs at home plate, and with the way your boys are swinging the bat, it's understandable that maybe one of your best hitters in Adam Gauthier will be able to get the job done and at least bring in that run in T.J. Ward, as he's batting .304 on this season for Birmingham Bloomfield.
And it wasn't the hardest hit for Alec Oland, but he knows that Clifton Landis doesn't have the hardest velocity. He was down in the count and just poked one right into right, and sometimes that's all it takes.
So Oland with the base knock to load the bases. Gauthier, meanwhile, looks at called strike 1 to begin this at-bat. Gauthier on Saturday was 0 for 4. Had a fly out, a pair of lineouts, and reached on a fielder's choice, but was 2 for 2 on the base pass as the 0-1 missing. Good stop from Barbie. That cage comes off, keeps it in front of him, and a situation where you got to be at the top of your game if you're Barbie. Can't allow anything to get past you with the bases loaded and your team already trailing by a score of 2-0, and you haven't been able to even get an at-bat offensively as the 1-1 to Gauthier. Taken for a ride out into left field. Ryan Rivera backtracking right at the point where the grass meets the warning track as he makes the catch, but Gauthier does deliver as the sacrifice flyout drives in T.J. Ward. Longley stays at second, Oland stays at first, but the Beavers with a trio of runs before they could get out of this top of the first, but they're not done yet as Adon Ordonez stands in from the right side. He's one of the new faces here at the USPBL, but Chris Newell, a fan of him, as he's getting ready to get something going. Ordonez with a .222 batting average in 2 starts, 4 total games he's appeared in. He's 2 for his first 9. One of his 2 hits has been a double, but he also has 1 walk on the season. No strikeouts yet, so that's a good sign there from the 8-hitter as as Landis misses the zone away. Good start here for Ordonez, working the count ahead.
And Ordonez has not had that many opportunities this year. 0 for 3 back on Friday against the Unicorns. But he'll take every opportunity that he can get playing shortstop this afternoon for the Beavers, hitting in the 8-hole.
Yeah, Ordonez, like you mentioned, was 0 for 3 when he was batting in the 9th spot on Saturday. All of his hits that he made contact with were on the ground. He had 2 ground outs and then reached on a fielder's choice. So Ordonez is going to try and get this baseball past the infield if he can. He's worked a good 2-0 count to start. Clifton Landis desperately trying to get out of this inning without having to go through the entire Birmingham Bloomfield order. The righty-righty matchup. Landis with a long pause as he looks at the base runner at second, that Longley, but got to focus on your task at hand as Ordonez now working the count 3-0 as Landis doing everything he can to not have bases loaded for the second time in this inning. Beavers looking really sharp offensively in this one. Mentioned their starter, Austin Steinfort, the man out of Rochester College, as that one misses. Looked to be maybe a bit outside, but home plate umpire Frank Barquette not giving these pitchers really any benefit of the doubts on that outside corner. Looked good, at least looked like a strike yesterday, but maybe not today.
And that's something that, even if it's a little high, maybe a little outside, that, the home plate umpire helps him out with the 3-0 count. We saw, I believe it was Gary Wagenschutz last night, with pretty generous strike zone always for the pitchers, but not the same story here. But just the command so far from Landis just not there. Doesn't seem to be very comfortable out there.
So out there is Brian Kluppy, assistant manager, doing a little bit of conversing there with Clifton Landis, as this is not the start that the Mammoths wanted today by any means. You come off of a very tough loss, arguably their toughest loss of the year yesterday. You have those days where you get whooped around and have, the opposition put up double digits like we might see here. But what's a tougher loss? Something like that or the game like yesterday where they were down by 2 runs going into that home half of the ninth. They end up tying it, but one of their best hitters in Ethan Whisker stranded the bases loaded with 2 outs when he struck out, and then the Hoppers put up a 5 spot in the top of the 10th. Both of those type of losses, especially tough, is Todd Weiss standing in from the right side now. He's quickly down on strikes on an 0-2 count as he looks at the second pitch of the at-bat. Beavers with the 3 runs here to start this top of the first. Landis needing to get out of this, as there's that slider once again in the dirt. Good job of Barbie to drop down to the knees and stay in front of that one.
And the Mammoths can have a little bit of confidence coming in offensively in their 2 games this week. A combined 15 runs, 10 back against the Beavers on the 23rd, and 5 yesterday against the Hoppers. But it's tough. Beavers strike already with 3, but there's still a lot of baseball to be played, so a lot of good opportunity for the Mammoths still. Hopefully they can escape this one with just 3 runs.
The 1-2 to Weiss. Fastball, 86, fouled off. Weiss realizing, I think, he was, of course, with the 2 strikes, you got to have that 2-strike approach, which means you might see something more out of the strike zone to try and get you to chase, but he quickly realized that would have been strike 3, so at the last second, stuck his bat out, made contact with it, fights one off. Well in on the hands, though, was that pitch, and it simply popped out to the first baseman, Stephen Wells Jr., but the Beavers bat through the order and get 3 runs across in the top of the first inning on count 'em 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 singles, a walk, or 2, excuse me. Overall, though, Chris Newell got to be happy with what he's seeing from his boys as we head to the home half of the first. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. to the home half of the first. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you as the Beavers. If you're just joining us, you missed a bit. Beavers getting 3 runs on 4 hits. They leave the bases loaded in that top of the frame, but Chris Newell's got to be happy as his team bats through the order. And his big fella, that would be Austin Steinfort, the 6'9", 250-pounder out of Rochester College. And, of course, one of the other hometown products. We got a battle of the Michiganders on the bump today. And the Mammoths, who had that double-digit victory on Thursday against these Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, looking to try and battle back in this one after their starter, Clifton Landis III, allowed the 3 runs. Good sign there is the offense not going down easy as Dobson leads things off with the single.
Yeah, and we mentioned a little bit earlier Dobson was in the 2 spot yesterday, but did have 2 stolen bases. I think that's one of the reasons he was moved up to the 1 spot. So might look for him to steal a few more bases. 6 for 6 already on the season. Sonny Cortez, of course, who's in the leadoff spot, moves to the 2 spot, but leads the team with a .370 batting average and a .500 on base percentage. Yesterday was 1 for 3, 3 walks, and 2 runs scored.
And I'll tell you what, Leo, we were talking pregame about, why in the world would you take Cortez out of that leadoff spot? He had the 3 walks, and you just mentioned the way he's hitting the ball this year, .370. But I guess I understand it in the terms of, yes, Dobson with those 2 stolen bases. Maybe the approach was, hey, you know what? Why have Sonny Cortez up there when no one's got the opportunity to be on the base passes? He comes off the bag there, and he quickly reacts to try and go over to third as there was too much speed going into second base. He'll technically get the stolen base, which on the season, as we take a quick look there for Ryan Dobson of the Westside Woolly Mammoths, he's now 7 of 7 on the base paths, but went just a little too much, and unfortunate for him and the Mammoths, he gets taken out in between second and third, as that's kind of the way that today could go for the Mammoths, as Cortez on the 1-1 looks at called strike 2. Tough break there, as he would have had no outs with a runner in scoring position after giving up the 3 spot.
And the throw almost beat him. He had a pretty crafty slide, but kind of just overslid past second base. He kind of slid over to the right. He was trying to get that left hand in there, but yeah, pretty unfortunate for the Mammoths. Would have had that runner in scoring position with no outs.
Meanwhile, Steinfort missing low at that 87-mile-an-hour fastball. Steinfort with his 3rd start on the season, but the first time that we've been able to witness him is the first 2 times he's pitched this year have been in our non-public games. As on the year, Steinfort, we mentioned it in the pregame show, he's 1-0, has one of the 2 wins for Birmingham Bloomfield as Sonny Cortez gets over there to first on the 1-out walk. But with a couple of those balls in the dirt, maybe that's something that the Mammoths will notice as we continue on in this ball game, because I'll tell you right here and now, Dobson steals that base, gets to second safely. At least one of those pitches that Steinfort threw would have been able to get to third.
Yep.
So could have runners on the corners, tying run out up at the plate, but instead it'll be the runner on first with 1 out, and Whisker now standing in as Cortez reaches on the payoff pitch base on balls. Whisker in the game yesterday was batting in the 6th hole as he was 2 for 4 with a pair of singles, but I mentioned that huge strikeout in that 9th inning when his team had the bases loaded. It already put up a 2 spot to tie the game. All you needed was a base knock and your team would have been victorious, but a different side of the story here is Chris Newell quickly going out to talk with his battery. Looks like he might be talking more with Goff here, as maybe just hey, let's fire the baseball in there. I put you out there for a reason. You're a good pitcher. Use that size to your advantage. As on the season, didn't mention this, but Steinfort, through his season thus far, on the first pitch, he's thrown 30 strikes to 17 balls coming into play today, but not having the same success this afternoon as that ball hit just foul. A couple of hops over there to the hot corner as TJ Ward at least keeps it in front of him, but it was, in fact, foul. Steinfort, meanwhile, trying to make a name for himself on this roster, maybe get him into this official starting rotation. It's weird, as in the USPBL, you only have a couple of games that are public during the weekend, but you have a couple of games on, the Monday through Wednesdays during the week, as the 1-1 fouled off over there in right was Todd Weiss, as he doesn't get there in time as he careens into the wall at the last second, but he knew it was there, so he slowed himself down in time, but could have laid out maybe and had that one. He's got plenty of speed, one of the faster guys in this league, but just didn't get enough time to get that one, as he's playing pretty much where you're supposed to be if you're in right field. Meanwhile, Nick Campana in center playing a little bit shaded to left. Alec Olin out there in left field, left to right on the infield. TJ Ward at third, Ordonez at short, Kemp at second. Haranek over there at first, right on cue, as Cortez getting kept on over there. Sonny Cortez on the season for Westside, 2 of 3 on the base paths. Not a bad opportunity to maybe do it here on the 1-2. Instead, this one popped up into foul territory. Haranek knows he's got plenty of room, so he can make the run and get the catch, as Whisker is retired via the pop out to first. Now 2 outs on the board. Cortez has to remain at first.
That'll be Stephen Wells Jr. stepping up. We, of course, saw Drew Kitson hitting in 3 spot yesterday, and Stephen Wells Jr. did come in as his replacement after that awkward dive in center field, but it's been a slow start for Stephen Wells Jr., hitting just 118 with 4 runs batted in. He was 0 for 2 after pinch hitting yesterday for Drew Kitson.
Meanwhile, first pitch to Stephen Wells Jr. painting that outside black. So a good start in this at-bat. Stephen Wells Jr., like you said, pinched hit in the game yesterday, but look at this. Steinfort with a good job trying to pick off Cortez. In fact, he will, as Cortez is tagged out for the 3rd and final out. Good job there from the RC alum to get the job done. Beavers, meanwhile, lead it 3-0 through 1. We head to the 2nd. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 1 at Jimmy John's Field. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you as always. It will be, take a quick look. That's Matt Farlow up at the plate. And Ryan Kemp, who had been in the first spot of this order to start the game. He was 0 for 1 with the ground out to shortstop, but it looks as if it'll be Farlow's day for the remainder of it. Not sure why. We'll try and get that clarification as soon as possible, but Matt Farlow on the first try hits a ground ball over to the right side. Easy play for Steve Pasquale, as now Nick Campana standing in for the second consecutive inning, of course. Singleton came in to score the first run of the ball game. The hot hitter trying to continue on in this one as he looks at ball one to begin this at-bat.
Campana took the first pitch he saw back in the first for a base hit. USPBL Player of the Week last week, the first hitter to earn that honor. Of course, this is the third week now of the USPBL. Landis right there just threw a pitch to hit the outside corner. 1-1 count on Campana. 357 hitter entering this ball game.
As he fouls off the 1-1, quickly 1-2. I actually just tried to run across next door and figure out if there was any word on why Kemp had been taken out of this game so far, and haven't heard anything upstairs yet. So we will kind of update you as we go along, but there wasn't anything offensively or anything in the field over at second that we saw that would be able to take Kemp out of this game. So hoping he's all right as Campana looks at the fourth pitch. It's 2-2. That one misses on the outside corner.
And Campana coming in 10 hits, half of them extra base hits, 3 doubles and 2 triples already. No home runs so far, but he does have some extra base power, which is why he earned those Player of the Week honors last week.
First it was Luis Contreras of the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Then it was Nick Campana last week. And if we think about it, who would be our player this week? My first thought, Pat Adams, maybe of Eastside, who's been tremendous offensively, kind of been the reason starting at that top of the lineup, you know, that has been able to give the Hoppers some life back into this standings. Is Campana with a big cut, doesn't get any contact on it, looks back at home plate like he couldn't believe it, and neither could we. Campana not a guy who strikes out a lot, but goes down via the swing and the miss. 2 up, 2 down for the Beavers in this one. Jack Haranek now standing in as Clifton Landis trying to settle into this baseball game after that 28-pitch first inning, and more than half of them were out of the strike zone as he had 13 strikes to 15 balls in that first frame. But much better stuff this try around as Haranek fouls off the first try he sees in this AB.
That definitely wasn't a strong first inning for Landis. Looking better this inning. Maybe mixing in that slider a little bit more, which we saw him throw a few times last inning, but Haranek got a hold of one, sent one into the right center field gap for a double last inning.
As he looks at ball one here, count even at 1-1. But back to the whole Player of the Week conversation. Of course, the Hoppers' weekend is done. They end up 2-0.
Yep.
They outscore their opponents with a combined 16. Or excuse me, let's try that again. A combined 21-5.
Wow.
They go 12-0 against Utica on Saturday, and then yesterday, of course, against these Mammoths, the 9-5 victory, as it was 1-0 through the first 6 yesterday. As Haranek looks at a pitch, it's 2-2 now on the Ortonville, Michigan native. A lot of Michigan kids here in the USPBL, which we love to see, as Haranek fouls off that offer. But I would say maybe about 15% of the league, Michigan kids, as there's people from all over in this one. I mean, we're talking New York, down to Florida, over to California, and everything in between. It's been a great thing what Justin Orenduff, the Director of Baseball Operations, has been able to do in recruiting these guys. Is this one shot out into left field, almost a mirror image of a couple of hits we saw in that first frame for Birmingham Bloomfield, as Haranek stays hot. He's 2 for 2 with now a double and a single on the day. We definitely know he can hit the ball out of the park, but in terms of a triple, might need a miracle for that, but that conversation well away as TJ Ward stands in 1 for 1 with the RBI single, and then also came in to score on the sacrifice flyout off the bat of Adam Gauthier. We'll see if the Beavers can string anything more across here in this early on going, as the first pitch misses high.
And Ward single drove in 2, entered hitting 300 this season, so 5 RBIs for him now as he entered with 3. So he's a good hitter here in the 4 spot. This Beavers lineup that seems to be all over Clifton Landis today.
This pitch, that one looked like it might have been good in that zone. Barbie wasn't able to squeeze onto it. Not sure if that made a difference in the call or not, but either way, count going now to 2-0 on TJ Ward. Great hitters count. He'd have to hit it a big ways into one of the gaps if he wants to bring in Haranek, of course. Rivera in left, Cortez in center, Whisker in right today. As it's from the left to right in the infield. Shelby at the hot corner. Of course, Dobson and Pasquale up the middle, and then Wells Jr. over there at first as Landis and Barbie continue to play catch as Ward now works the 3-0 count. Got to imagine he's going to get the take sign here. There's 2 outs on the board. Worst case scenario, you take a strike. You got 2 more to use. But the last thing you want to see if you're the Beavers is one of your best hitters to make an out on a 3-0 pitch, and he won't even think about it as that one almost hits him in the ankles. But runners now at first and second. 2 outs on the board. Caleb Longley standing in. He reached on the 4-pitch walk back in the last inning. So he 4-pitched walked Longley. He just 4-pitched walked TJ Ward. But unfortunately for Clifton Landis, that's walk number 3.
That's
and
right.
not only that, Leo, but walk number 3 that's been on 4 pitches. So all of the walks for Landis today have been without strikes, something that you don't see all that often, but that's a commanding just situation where Landis, I mean, that's not what you want to see.
No.
A walk occasionally here and there isn't going to hurt you, but when the magnitude of it is that, it's not what you want. Meanwhile, drops in a splitter at 75. Longley takes a long look at it.
Yeah, it was a good start to the inning. He got Matt Forlow and Campana back-to-back outs there. Campana swinging on that 3-2 count. But now 2 base runners more for the Beavers. Caleb Longley, like you said, walked back in the first.
This one lined into center field. Underneath it is Rivera. He'll make the catch on the run. The Beavers threaten but do not score with 2 outs in the top of the second. We head to the home half. They lead it 3-0. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the second we go. Beavers with the control through the first inning and a half. It'll be Stephen Wells Jr. who did see one pitch from Austin Steinfort back in that first inning, but after he had taken the 0-1 count, as he does here to start this home half of the second, it was Sonny Cortez who was picked off by Steinfort. And how about that gnarly 81-mile-an-hour changeup? He only goes to it about 5% of the time. Maybe he should go to it more, as that was a really good pitch. Wells couldn't do anything with it, as he's got a 118 batting average on the season, something obviously he wants to get going here, as he's 2 for his first 17 through his first 5 starts. He does have 4 RBIs, though, alongside 3 walks, as the 1-2 to Wells Jr. in the dirt. And that's kind of what I'm starting to notice, Leo, is Steinfort's, in terms of if he does have control issues, it's in the dirt. Nothing that's evident yet is, of course, the Mammoths still with that goose egg up on the board, but maybe that's part of the reason why he's not at the top of this rotation.
And we saw before that fastball that missed in the dirt, he threw back-to-back changeups. It's not a bad idea to miss in the dirt with the 2-strike count, as that one misses high. It's not a bad idea to waste a few pitches, but now you're in a 3-2 count here after having him 0-2.
And not only that, but it looked as if the balls that were in the dirt were fastballs. So if you want to miss with 2 strikes with a fastball, it's for the most part up, as the first batter of the home half of the second reaches on the full count walk. Polshan now standing in. Batting in here now for the first time today, the designated hitter. Yesterday was 0 for 4 when he was batting in the cleanup spot. Or 0 for 3 in the cleanup spot. Had 2 groundouts, but also had 2 walks. One of them was the intentional variety, as he goes down to start this at bat 0-1. Polshan on the season, batting .294 through his first 7 games. He's got 5 starts on the year. 5 for 17, just 2 RBIs, but he has got 6 walks and just 2 strikeouts, an on-base percentage of .478, as he looks at ball 1. Over there on first is, of course, Wells Jr., as this 1-1 pitch looked good, just missed the zone by a hair. Got to imagine that not a lot of speed between the 2 players on the field for the Mammoths, the man at first and then the man at the plate, so could be a prime scenario for Steinfort to try and get a ground ball that could lead to 2. Steinfort, through the first inning, had just 14 pitches against the 3 batters that he had faced. Polshan ready for the 2-2. A lengthy Steinfort with the quick try there towards home plate with the slide step to try and catch Polshan off guard, but he holds back and the count remains full, as the wind's starting to blow out to left a little bit, as you can see with that American flag out there in center field raised high.
Yeah, and we see another 3-ball count, and Steinfort already has walked 2 batters, Sonny Cortez in the first, and of course Stephen Wells Jr. standing on first.
This
There's
payoff pitch just missing low, back-to-back walks there for Steinfort. Of course, with no outs, now Jake Barbie standing in. Here's where the strategy and the chess match might start to come into play. Barbie on the season is batting .250, 6 for his first 24. Whoa, so we might need some more water up here in the booth, as we're on game number 5 on the weekend, but we're still kicking here on this gorgeous Memorial Day afternoon. Barbie, you see Wiedemeyer over there in the third base coach's box, sort of crouching and keeping tabs on the middle infielders right around where Stephen Wells Jr. is, but a prime scenario to try and lay one down. But here's the thing, Jake Barbie, who pinched hit yesterday, came in late in the game, had 2 doubles, so might be the last guy at the moment that you want to have to sacrifice, as Javon Shelby is on deck. He was 0 for 5 yesterday with 3 groundouts, so maybe if Shelby was up in this spot, you'd see him try and lay one down, but looking like it's not going to be Barbie. They're going to give him the opportunity here as the count rings at 1-1 with that called strike.
Yeah, it was Jackson Smith who started behind the dish yesterday for the Mammoths, but yeah, Jake Barbie, who pinch hit, now gets the start in this one. Like you said, those 2 doubles. He's a good left-handed hitter up there at the plate.
That one fouled off out of play, so a good job by Steinfort to get ahead in this count, so now he can work around it if he needs to, trying not to give Barbie anything he could muster into the outfield. Mentioned how Steinfort throws his four-seam fastball about 60% of the time, and then his curveball about 20%. But that changeup was looking good earlier on in this inning. Here's that curveball. Brought in there for a strike as he drops it in. Barbie frozen on it. He doesn't agree with the call, as most batters who get rung up on a strike don't agree. But, hey, you know what? That one, understandable from both sides. It was about as close as it could have been. But home plate umpire Frank Barquette saying that one dropped in early enough. So Barbie is rung up on strikes for out number 1. Good sign there for the Beavers as they're trying to keep the Mammoths with the 0 on the scoreboard.
And Gauthier also did a nice job of trying to bring it back in the zone with a frame job behind home plate. That's one pitch that you just got to be looking for when you're down in the count. It's a pitch that's on the border and one that you just can't take. Javon Shelby now at the plate. Tough day for him yesterday, 0 for 5, but does have one of the 2 home runs that the Mammoths have tallied so far this season.
Of course, the draftee out of high school, and for good reason. He does have tons of pop in his bat. Been able to see him in batting practice so far this year. He can definitely hit the baseball quite a ways, as he's ahead in the count 2-0 here. Good hitters count to try and tie this game up. Steinfort bringing in the fastball at 87. It's upstairs and well upstairs, as now the count 3-0 on Shelby with runners on first and second. Got to imagine he's going to be getting a take sign here with Steinfort already 2 walks in the inning. And there it is, right down Broadway, but Shelby, the aggressive hitter that he is, looked as if that take sign was in fact on. And I might debate on even taking one here. Steinfort not necessarily doing all too well with his command at the moment, same as his counterpart Clifton Landis, as this one is hit well high as it heads out there to our Chevy Pavilion out there in left. So the count now full on the batter. Nice job of Steinfort to battle back, go from 3-0 to now 3-2. And if he can retire Shelby without any damage on the base pass, Chris Newell is going to be a happy camper. The payoff pitch. Fastball, look good again, but that one just a hair low. Home plate umpire Frank Barquette is on it today. A lot of close calls, but it looks as if he is right on it, as third walk of the inning brings the bases loaded. TJ Ward's going to go in there and try and calm his big fella down. Look at the size differential there. Just to kind of give you an idea, TJ Ward for these Beavers stands at 6'1", so he's not a tremendously tall individual, but 6'9" there for Austin Steinfort. Just a towering individual, but in the end, it doesn't matter how tall you are, how fast you can throw. If you're throwing walks, it's going to be an issue, and that's how we've gotten to the bases loaded here in this situation. Ryan Rivera, who drops down 3 spots in the order from yesterday, ends up flying this one into left center field. Might have a play at the plate as the center fielder, Campana, taking charge. And he tosses this one right to TJ Ward where it should have been. A good job there from Campana to keep the base runners at bay. Steinfort gets his fly ball that doesn't get too deep, so Rivera is retired. 2 down. And Steve Pasquale now standing in. He was 0 for 5 with 3 groundouts and 2 strikeouts yesterday. So maybe a formidable situation for the Beavers trying to get out of this jam, but it could be a big-time spot with the tying run on the base pass. The first pitch to Pasquale, fastball, called strike on that outer part of the plate. Good job by Steinfort to get that first pitch strike after the 3 walks in this inning already. Did get his first strikeout of the day, though, when he rung up Barbie on strikes. Time is called here from Pasquale to try and mix up the timing and the rhythm of the St. Clair Shores, Michigan product.
And it's been a tough start for his season, hitting just .083. That's why he's in the 9 spot for the Mammoths. You saw Ryan Rivera swing at the first pitch last at bat. I definitely didn't like that approach there. You only have 1 out. You got the bases loaded. Rivera, a guy hitting just .200, hitting in the 8 spot, already with 4 walks, so he's hitting, his on-base percentage is .400. It's a guy that has the ability to draw walks, and with already the 3 walks in this inning, I would have liked to see him maybe try to draw another.
The 0-2 to Pasquale. Fastball, he just sticks his bat out there, but it's going to go right to Todd Weiss. in that right field position. The Beavers leave them loaded. The Mammoths strand 3, and they remain scoreless in this one as the Beavers take the 3-0 lead into the third. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel, your broadcasters. We're through 2 at Jimmy John's Field. It's been all Birmingham Bloomfield so far in this contest. Alec Olin getting things going for the Beavers in this top of the third. But first pitch swinging, he pops one up in foul territory right down the first baseline. Stephen Wells Jr. makes the play with ease. 1 up and 1 down. That's what you like to see if you're Clifton Landis. Comes into this third inning with already 49 pitches. Count them, 25 balls to 24 strikes. So now at the 50 mark, he's even through that. But the 3 walks, accompanied by the 1 strikeout, have him sitting at that high pitch count already. As Gauthier now standing in, he hit a sacrifice fly out to left field back in that first inning. As the first pitch to him now is a ball that misses the zone. Gauthier, mentioned how he's hitting above 300. Looks at called strike 2. But he is one of, at the moment, count them, 5 players with an above 300 average on this Birmingham Bloomfield lineup. As the slider, 77, looked good, but home plate umpire Frank Barquette, not giving him any benefits of the doubt with that off-speed pitch. As the 2-1 fastball in there. Normally this ball would well be out of play, but at Jimmy John's Field there's always a chance. But that one, in fact, does just get out of there into that first base dugout where those Beavers are sitting in that Beaver den.
And you mentioned Landis' high pitch count so far. They would have liked to have seen him go deep into this game, as they did use 4 relief pitchers yesterday against the Diamond Hoppers. So not a lot of arms will be available in that bullpen.
First, 2-2 pitch into right center field. Whisker with the dot. Is robbed there of the base knock. A good job there from the Westside right fielder. 2 up and 2 down. We know we were going to see some offense today, but the defense, a good job there to hopefully give Clifton Landis his first 1-2-3 inning, which he desperately needs. We saw in that second inning just a bit ago, he got a quick ground out from Farlow and then a strikeout to Campana, but then a single and a walk. Almost led to another run for the Beavers, but a good job here as Adon Ordonez, the man who started at shortstop, now at second base after Ryan Kemp had been taken out of this game. Still trying to figure out exactly why. Hoping that it's nothing too serious physically as the 0-1 misses that one. Brings his count even at 1-1.
Ordonez walked back in the first. Like we mentioned before, not a ton of opportunities, just 2 for 9, only 9 at bats coming into the game.
So you can't hold back there. The count quickly now 1-2 on the on the second baseman. Landis looking for his first 1-2-3 frame of the day. Might get it here as this one's hit the whisker as well. That one more on a line. A lot easier play there for him to make. We head to the home half of the third. Beavers out in front 3-0. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 2.5 at Jimmy John's Field. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. Austin Steinfort, 6'9", Rochester College alum in there for his third inning of work as he deals with the top of this Westside roster. As the 0-1 fastball upstairs, and Dobson did in fact go around, according to our first base umpire, quickly down in this one, 0-2. Steinfort, though, through those first 2 innings, already 40 pitches, had just 14 through the first, as the breaking ball stays upstairs, 75 miles an hour, it doesn't go anywhere. It's 1-2 on Dobson, but for Steinfort coming into this inning, out of the 40 pitches, only 21 of them for strikes. Had 3 walks that loaded the bases in that inning, but he luckily got out of it with a pair of flyouts from Rivera and Pasquale. But Dobson on the 1-2 looks at a ball in the dirt, evens this one up. As Steinfort, we haven't been able to see him in a public game so far this year when we've been broadcasting, so we're not sure exactly what his threshold is in terms of pitches and innings. As this one on the 2-2, Dobson not happy with himself as he chases after what would have been ball 3, but instead, strikeout number 2 on the day for Steinfort. Good job for him to get him to chase. Ryan Dobson was probably in a moment mentally where he was trying to make something happen instead of let something happen, and unfortunately for him, he goes down. He's retired for the first time today. And Steinfort gets back to work. This one, Cortez trying to get down the first baseline with that try. As he's down in the count 0-1. Reached on the walk back in the first. It was on a full count as well, but he ended that first inning when he was picked off by Steinfort on the base pass. As this ball nowhere close. It makes it about 60 feet in the dirt. As Steinfort going to have to get back at it here. The count even at 1-1.
And the Mammoths last inning had the bases loaded with one out. Now not able to get it done in the end. So it was a great job last inning by Steinfort to escape the jam. Tires Dobson with his first strikeout swinging now 2 for him this afternoon.
Mentioned Cortez as this one back up the middle. Won't be an easy play. The second baseman, Ordonez, trying to be quick with it, but too much speed there for Cortez. Uses that to his advantage. Gets the 1-out single to his credit. He's got 4 walks and 2 singles in the last 24 hours. Pretty good stuff there from the man out of California.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about some possible player of the week. Sonny Cortez, if he continues to have a good game, already a walk and a single now, he could be in contention as well. Also, a pretty good game back on Friday with a couple of walks and hits against the Unicorns.
First pitch to Whisker. That one in the dirt. Good job by Gauthier to keep that one in front of him because, of course, we know Cortez does have some speed on the base pass. 2 for 3 coming into today's action with those stolen bases. Steinfort, though, already has his number on the base pass today. This one lifted into right center field. Campana looks like he's got a beat on it, and he does. Makes the catch one-handed as Whisker is retired. So 2 for 3 for Steinfort in this inning. Cortez remaining over there on first base, and now Stephen Wells Jr. standing in. Reached on the walk and started the second inning, that long second inning for Steinfort, but doing a much better job here. And mention how Stephen Wells Jr., that batting average sitting at 118 coming into play today. If I'm Steinfort, I'm going right after him for some type of easy out. Steinfort, the quick pitch, that slide step, and something that I haven't seen a lot of pitchers use so far in this 2019 season. Steinfort, a guy who doesn't throw all too hard for the size that he has, but you got to be able to work other parts of your craft into it, and that slide step is working mightily so far for him today, and it looks like this one's going to stay in the ballpark. Todd Weiss underneath it, about 5 feet in front of the warning track, makes the catch with ease. Steinfort allows the single, but strands the runner. We're through 3 at the ballpark on this gorgeous Memorial Day Monday. Hope you're having a good day tuning in, whether you're on the boat or out with the family. We head to the 4th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 3 on this Memorial Day Monday. Todd Weiss, the bottom of this Birmingham Bloomfield lineup, due up. And then back to the top with Farlow and Campana. Weiss on the day, 0 for 1 with that pop out to the first baseman, Stephen Wells Jr. in foul territory. But he made the last catch to end the third as the Mammoths were trying to threaten. Weiss, first pitch, looks at called strike 1. Second pitch, misses away. Todd Weiss mentioned how he's the hometown kid, had been working with Chris Newell for years in the cages, and it's been paying off evidently as he looks at a breaking ball for called strike 2, as we're seeing a little bit more of that from Landis today compared to his season so far. But Weiss, he's making just his second start on the year, fouls another one off as he's got 2 hits and 4 at-bats with 2 runs scored. Both of his hits have been singles, but a guy more known for his speed and defense compared to the offense, as he does have 1 walk and 1 strikeout on the year. But he's ready for the 1-2. After a couple of foul balls, this one in the dirt at 76. Good job of Barbie to keep that one in front of him. Might have been the splitter there, as tell you what, the one thing that no matter what happens on the field today, got to be fortunate for this weather that we've been able to have this afternoon, as we haven't been all too lucky so far this season in terms of temperature. As the 2-2 missing well low, and now Todd Weiss working that count full. And what a situation this could be for the Beavers. You know, you have guys bat in the 9 spot for one of 2 reasons. Either they're one of the worst hitters on the team, or in a situation like this, Todd Weiss trying to work him as that double leadoff man. And look at that, though. Nice off-speed pitch there from Clifton Landis for out number 1. Weiss is frozen. He can't believe it, but he'll go down either way as we go back to the top of the order in Farlow.
Now, we haven't seen the home plate umpire, Frank Barquette, call many pitches in favor of the pitchers so far in this one, but gives the benefit of the doubt there to Clifton Landis for his second strikeout. It will now be Matt Farlow standing in a big swing and a miss on an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. Farlow, of course, came in to replace Ryan Kemp back in the second. Kemp left the game. We still don't have official word on that. Right now, Rich is trying to get some more information about Ryan Kemp, but Matt Farlow is now playing shortstop, as Adon Ordonez, who started at shortstop, now playing second base. 1-1 count here on Farlow. Look to be the splitter right there at 76, right down Broadway, 1-2. Farlow hitting just 105 with 2 hits entering the ball game. He'll drive one to deep center field. Sonny Cortez is chasing back on the track, and he makes the catch. What a play out there by Sonny Cortez. Farlow gave it quite the ride. Impressive over-the-shoulder grab right there, robbing Farlow of extra bases.
So Farlow is retired for out number 2. Tremendous rundown there by Sonny Cortez, as I was next door trying to figure out the whole off-speed stuff for Landis, but I was told that it is in fact his splitter that sort of has been looking like a slider, as there it is again, as he had said to our baseball ops people that, yes, it might look like a slider, but it is in fact his splitter. So Leo on that big fly out there to left field, you're welcome for giving you the nice little demo touch there, as you know, that was a good call. That was a good call. Thank
you,
bud. Here, fist bump there. There you go. But no, that was a good play there by Cortez. Meanwhile, this one looking like it's going to stay in the field of play. Barbie knowing this foul territory, as he's that returning catcher for the Mammoths. The Beavers going down in order with a strikeout, a flyout, and a pop-out in the top half, as the Mammoths need some offense to string together. It'll be Polshan, Barbie, and Shelby due up. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And we're back at Jimmy John's Field. Rich Borland alongside Leo Ortel. It's been all Beavers in this one, but they were retired in order. In that top of the fourth, we head to the home half. It's Polshan, Barbie, Shelby for Westside, as seeing good stuff from Austin Steinfort. 53 pitches through 3 innings. He does have 2 strikeouts to his credit, as Polshan is down in the count in this one quickly 0-2, now 1-2. But he reached on a base on balls on a full count pitch back in the in the second inning, as he now works the count 2-2. Steinfort coming into this frame with 29 of the pitches of the 53 for strikes. But you just wonder how long he's going to be able to stay in this game as the pitch count continues to rise. Got to imagine he'll get through the 5th, and then that will be the decision-making for Chris Newell, as no one's getting loose in the right field bullpen, but it looks to see someone is, in fact, there down the left field line for Westside, and maybe it's a bullpen opportunity, but I'm pretty sure that's Philip Walby out there.
That is. That's number 16, Philip Walby, who I believe started back on Thursday. Yeah, Walby threw 5 innings against the Beavers, giving up just 1 earned run, striking out 3 batters. So the Beavers have seen him already this week, but a good outing for Walby, who has had a great season so far. Just 1 run given up in 10 innings pitched with 13 strikeouts.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea. I mean, you don't have another public game until Friday against the Utica Unicorns, so you know what? Walby's ready to go. I mean, give you a couple innings. Why not? Might as well use it against the opposition compared to just a bullpen against nobody.
Absolutely.
So Barbie, meanwhile, looks at 2 straight, both out of the zone, so a good hitter's count for the Statesville, North Carolina native, as he's standing in there looking for his first hit of the day. Mentioned how he was that pinch hitter yesterday, as this one's popped up. Looks like it's going to get out of play, as that one about 10 rows up. Somebody gets that souvenir, as Barbie's count now goes to 2-1. Barbie really trying to figure him out, because last year, he was still trying to get his feet wet after being in college, and as he's ready for the 2-1 here, he's really improved from a mental standpoint over the last 365 days. I saw him with not as good of an approach at the plate last year. He was kind of just free swinging, trying to make stuff happen, but he's got more of an idea up there at the plate of what he wants to do. He takes this one into left center field. It's Campana taking a quick run at it. On the run, makes the catch, spins around, and ricochets off the wall after he makes that catch. So quickly 2 up and 2 down for the Mammoths, as the best dog in the house. Of course, there was about 85 or 100 or so dogs yesterday, but JJ once again taking his throne here at Jimmy John's Field, doing his duty, picking up the baseball bats, as Barbie is retired via the flyout to center field. Steinfort looking sharp, trying to get his first 1-2-3 conventional inning this try, as he did have the 1-2-3 inning back in the first, but allowed a walk and a single, which is wild to think. You can have a 1-2-3 inning with allowing 2 separate base runners on, but that miscue from Dobson after he stole first, was caught in between second and third, and then the pickoff that got Cortez. Really great job of Steinfort to be on early in that ball game, as he's got Shelby even at 1-1, as that one nowhere close in the dirt.
Yeah, there's been just 2 hits for the Mammoths so far, but they have had 4 walks now, so they've been on base quite a bit. Some base running blunders in the first definitely hurt them there. Loaded up the bases in the second and could not score with 1 out. So definitely already some missed opportunities for the Mammoths. They got off to a pretty slow start offensively yesterday against the Diamond Hoppers, but did put up 5 runs in that game, and then earlier on Thursday against the Beavers 10 runs. So it's been a good offensive week for the Mammoths overall.
Meanwhile, Shelby working a favorable 3-1 count. He's already got 1 walk on the day after he started his at-bat 0-2. This one, outside corner, called strike 2. So for the second consecutive time, he's worked that count full. He thought he might have had the walk, but he respectfully nodding the head to the home plate umpire, Frank Barquette. That one definitely close enough to be a called strike. Meanwhile, Shelby ready for the payoff pitch. Nubs this one off the end of the bat as Steinfort is going to have to make the play on his own, and he does. He gets a strikeout. That's his count at third of the day in his fourth inning as the Mammoths need some runs as we go to the fifth. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 4 at Jimmy John's Field. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. The day is done for Clifton Landis III as he ends up going the 4 innings, allows 3 earned runs on 5 hits, did have 3 walks allowed, but struck out 2 in the process, and something we were not expecting to see this afternoon, and that's Philip Walby in here now to pitch for the Mammoths, who without a doubt has been their best pitchers. This one's hit on a line. It's going to get over the head of the left fielder, Ryan Rivera. Jack Haranek. Have a day, big man. That's his second double, 3rd hit of the day. Jack Haranek, no doubt, best hitting performance so far today and possibly over the weekend as the Beavers' leadoff man is on and in scoring position. Tough start there for Philip Walby.
Yeah, the Beavers are definitely going to see a different pitcher out there than Clifton Landis III. Philip Walby throws a little bit harder than Clifton Landis III and is going to mix things up a lot more so with the off-speed stuff. Walby does have affiliated experience with the Toronto Blue Jays organization, 5 years in fact, posting a 4.15 ERA and also a product that attended San Diego State University.
Meanwhile, Walby giving up a base knock into right center field. Second single of the day for TJ Ward. 3rd time he's reached base safely. And I'll tell you what, between Haranek and Ward, they've reached base 6 for 6. But overall, both of these men looking sharp in that 3-4 combination might be something that Chris Newell has found something here, and would be shocked to see anyone other than the Haranek-Ward combo from the 3 and 4 spot for the rest of the season here.
Yeah, and it was the first inning where the Beavers did that damage a lot, and thanks to Haranek and Ward, as Ward drove in 2 with that single. But since then, Clifton Landis didn't throw too bad in the 2nd through 4th innings. But the Mammoths do decide to mix it up here, and it's not looking good so far for Philip Walby, who has given up just 1 run this season.
This ball hit high into right center field. With it being Haranek over at third, no way he's going to come in to score on this shallow fly out, as Whisker is underneath it to corral it for out number 1. But, yeah, you mentioned how Landis didn't do bad from the 2nd through the 4th, and in fact, he allowed just 2 base runners in the 2nd. It was Haranek and Ward, of course, with the single and the walk, but other than that, no one got a hit from the 2nd through the 4th inning. Or, excuse me, not just a hit, but didn't reach base safely at all. So Landis did a really good job outside of that first inning today, but that's the whole reason that we sit at 3-0, and now the Beavers trying to add on to that. Olin standing in. He singled in that long first, but popped out to the first baseman back when he started the the top half of the 3rd, as ball 1 is thrown in there from Walby.
It's definitely a different feel for out there for Walby not starting. Maybe knew that he would come in relief earlier in this game, but it's different when you're coming out as a reliever. You're not maybe as mentally prepared as you could be. But Walby is a guy with a ton of experience, maybe not so much as a reliever as he was used as a starter in affiliated ball. But Walby has been dominant, lights out so far this season, just 5 hits given up over 10, 13 strikeouts, and limiting opponents to a 147 batting average.
So you go Thursday to Monday. Not a short break necessarily, because he's not starting this one as the 3rd pitch of the at-bat, 3rd straight that misses the zone, or excuse me, called strike 1 there, it looks as if, according to the scoreboard. So 2-1 as Olin trying to make something happen, but maybe just the fact that Walby has already thrown this weekend, with the air quotes, but Olin ready for the 2-1 from Walby in the dirt. Barbie ends up keeping it close enough to him that Ward can't go anywhere, and Ward already on the 2nd pitch of the at-bat, not sure if you saw it or not, Leo, but he actually faked a steal. Didn't end up going anywhere, but it forced Olin to work the count 2-0, which now at 3-1. Runners on the corners. Ward's not going to be going anywhere. He doesn't have tons of speed, and neither does Haranek, so it's going to have to be the batters that drive in these runs, as Walby in a little bit of trouble to start his day.
And Olin already 1 single that came back in the first, of course, against Clifton Landis. He's 1 for 2 so far. Been swinging the bat pretty decent this season, entering with a 261 batting average.
Walby could really use a ground ball at the moment. We'll see if he gets one. The 3-1 missing. Low and away, or low and inside, that's the first walk he's allowed this afternoon, but that loads the bases with just the 1 out. So Adam Gauthier with a world of opportunity. Now batting from the right side. Nobody getting loose in the Westside bullpen, so got to imagine this is Walby's inning at least. Maybe Mark Wiedemeyer was thinking it would have been Walby's finish, or at least that's what he might have been hoping for, but not the exact scenario he was expecting, as this one's taken for a ride out into right center field. Adam Gauthier looking to drive in forward with 1 swing of the bat. Instead, it'll 1-hop over the fence, so 2 runs will come in to score, as he thought it was gone.
Ground rule double.
And they rule it do they rule?
There's no way.
There's no way that that was a home run. Without a doubt.
Definitely bounced out there over the wall, which
there's without
they will
a doubt.
change this ruling.
They have to.
They hopefully will.
I mean, if we could see it from up here, I don't know how they couldn't see it down in the field, but that for certain hit the field of play.
And if they get the change here, that's definitely a fortunate break for the Mammoths. That definitely would have driven in 3, but it will be second and third.
I mean, you saw the base runners ahead of Gauthier. They knew that it landed in the field of play beforehand.
And maybe Gauthier does know that it did bounce. Maybe he doesn't, but maybe just trying to play it off as if it was a home run.
That's what he was trying to do, for sure. But his base runners ahead of him maybe kind of took that out. And I would be shocked if they didn't change the ruling here, because that'd be a big miss from the boys in blue. I mean, that doesn't happen often. And they give him the home run. Wow. Some boos in the crowd as we thought that was without a doubt a ground rule double, but instead it's a grand slam for Adam Gauthier. So now a 7-0 commanding lead as that one, in fact, leaves the yard. But Sonny Cortez completely arguing this one.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah, shocked would be an understatement here. I mean, maybe they didn't see it. That's one where in the major leagues you go to the video review and it obviously would be overturned, but not something obviously that we do here in the USPBL. And this could be a game changer right here. I mean, Beavers already had the 3-0 lead, but this gives them a commanding 7-0 lead. And now it looks like Mark Wiedemeyer has been tossed as he throws the cap.
And, I mean, he's got every right for his annoyance of the call.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is without a doubt the wrong call here. And I'm shocked that the home plate umpire didn't overturn it either, because if we could see it clearly from up here, I mean, that's tough stuff.
Look at that, taking first base. Little Lou Piniella tactic right here. Now
baseball ops guys are going to go right back at it and go pick it up. Just proving his point, letting him know that the first base umpire clearly missed that one. That's it's a tough situation, without a doubt.
And we see still a few Mammoths chatting with the infield umpire. And look at that. Mark Wiedemeyer covering home plate here as much as he can with the dirt.
Fans getting a little extra today on this Memorial Day Monday contest, and I've seen 2 coaches thrown out in 3 years at Jimmy John's Field, once from Paul Noce. Wiedemeyer didn't go as crazy as Greg Grawl did back in year 1 when he actually was at third base and he rounded there's a whole hour that I could end up talking about, but yeah, it's a big miss from the boys in blue, and Mark Wiedemeyer letting him know it.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate for the Mammoths. Now the second home run this year for Gauthier, just the second that the Beavers have hit, if you want to call it a home run. But that's how it's going to go down in the scorebook, unfortunately. It's one of those things where up here in the booth we wish we could do something. I don't think the video feed would probably show it good enough that it was a ground rule double.
Yeah, that is it's a wild scenario, a break in the action here. But the Beavers, in the end, take the 7-0 lead as we finalize everything officially in the scorebook. So Haranik, T.J. Ward, Oland, as well as now Gauthier, given the home run, grand slam, the 4 RBIs officially, and it's tough for Philip Walby,
absolutely,
who obviously would have been in a world of hurt either way if that was in fact a ground rule double. There still would have been runners on here, as that's good enough for out number 2, as Ordonez is retired via the fly out to right field. But now it's Todd Weiss's turn as he's over 2 with a pop out to first and a strikeout looking back at the start of the 4th.
And Todd Weiss, as we mentioned before, having that connection with Chris Newell. Played a little bit last year in the USPBL, just 6 games, but did hit 500 in 12 at-bats with 3 runs batted in, but was previously just playing some rec ball. That's going to be a base hit into right, just over the head of Stephen Wells Jr. at first, and he's going to turn this one into 2.
Look at the speed there from Todd Weiss. I told you how he's got it, and he's showing it there. The 2-out double for the Beavers right fielder keeps this inning going. As we go back to the top of the order, and Walby's having sort of the same kind of inning that Clifton Landis had back in the first. That's now, count them, 7 batters through here in this top of the 5th, and Matt Farlow with his 3rd opportunity of the day, over 2 with a ground out and a fly out.
Yeah, and this is the 2nd time that the Beavers have seen Philip Walby this week, so they obviously have his number a lot more so than they did back on Thursday. Walby gave up just the 3 hits, the 1 run, did walk 3 batters, but able to keep it under control. But it's a whole different story this afternoon against the Beavers, now with 7 runs, 9 hits.
Farlow, meanwhile, on the 0-1, fouls off this pitch. It's quickly now 0-2. And the Mammoths at this point, obviously with their manager now out for the game, it'll be Brian Kluppy's team to take over. Still plenty of time to put some offense together. Steinfort, has been doing good today, but overall, nothing too overpowering. He's got the 4 walks already against him, but it's been the offense for the Beavers that has been the story today as Farlow takes the 0-2 pitch, and it's now 1-2.
Farlow came in to replace Ryan Kemp. Farlow now playing shortstop as Adon Ordonez moved over to second after he started at short.
Walby gets out of the inning, but the Beavers put up 4 on the what would have been ground rule double, but turned into the grand slam for Adam Gauthier. As we head to the home half of the 5th, you're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the bottom of the 5th we go. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. A tough play, but it looks like they might make it. And in fact, they do. Ryan Rivera was heading down the line as the first baseman, the big fella, Haranik, had to go to his right, grab that baseball. Steinfort, another big fella, making his way to the first base bag. Rivera's not a slow runner either, but they end up getting the out. So 1 up and 1 down for the Mammoths here to start this home half of the 5th, and things going just from bad to worse in terms of the results here for Mark Wiedemeyer's team. This one, second pitch, second out of the inning, going to be recorded as Campana makes this one as quickly 2 up and 2 down on 2 pitches. We don't think we'll see 3, will we?
I hope not. Ryan Dobson has had a pretty good approach the whole season. Ryan Rivera and Pasquale, not such good approaches for them. That's the second time that Ryan Rivera has gone down on the first pitch that he has seen. Of course, that one coming with the bases loaded for the Mammoths back in the second. And 2 quick outs here. Wow, we could have seen 3.
Unreal. Like, you got to know, I mean, as a baseball player, especially at this stage,
Yeah.
you understand that your first 2 guys go down on 2 pitches. It's one of those unwritten rules almost, as if you got to let that first pitch that's hit or thrown your way, you have to let it go because you just can't go down in an inning on 3 straight pitches. But
That's right.
Dobson, aggressive as ever, swinging at the first 2 already. He's down 0-2 with a foul ball there.
And surprising, too, that Dobson didn't know. Dobson actually one of the 2 guys in this Mammoths lineup with affiliated experience. Dobson, of course, with the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. And the first base umpire says he went around.
So that one, Dobson, for the second time today, rung up on strikes as he is now 1 for 3. We head to the 6th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. We're through 5 here at the ballpark, as it'll be Campana, Haranek, and Ward, the 2-3-4 hitters, due up for Birmingham Bloomfield as they take the 7-0 lead here into the 6th. Philip Walby back out there for his second inning of work. Tough start to his day as he allowed, count them, 3 hits there going into that last at-bat against Todd Weiss when he doubled, so technically 4 hits, but the big one, the grand slam off the bat of Adam Gauthier, the controversial call there, as it didn't look like it went over the fence initially, looked like a ground rule double, but the umpires confirmed that they said it went over as the 1-2 pitch fouled off and out of play. So Dobson, meanwhile, as he was rung up on strikes to end the 5th, he got taken out of the ball game after he had some mince words there for Frank Barquette, the home plate umpire. So Jackson Smith enters in the game for Dobson in the lineup at the top of the order, but he's, of course, the catcher now for the Mammoths. Jake Barbie goes from catcher to first. Javon Shelby, over to third, and then Shelby going from third to second, and then Steve Pasquale going from second to short. So kind of a musical chairs, turning that around on the infield. But overall, a tough day for the Mammoths, not just production-wise, but having the issues with the controversy, as it could have been still 3-0, but instead now 7 with that grand slam as Campana takes that 2-2 pitch almost off the jersey, as it's now full here from Walby.
Now really nothing going right for the Mammoths. Situational hitting, offensively not hitting in the clutch, and then you throw your best pitcher out there in Philip Walby, who has struggled early on with those 4 runs given up last inning.
This one hit foul, goes well out of play, so Campana continuing the at-bat, staying alive as he's forcing Walby to throw those pitches, as there is a couple of pitchers in that left field bullpen. No one officially tossing just yet, but it looks as if both, trying to get a look here, it looks like both Troy Whitty as well as Andrew Carver have been getting loose, at least up there doing some stuff, getting the bodies loose, as Campana on the payoff pitch. Good long at bat, but he doesn't end up getting the result that he would have liked as he flies out to left for out number 1. Jack Haranek, going to be a tough out to get here as he's been just cruising this afternoon. Already 2 doubles and a single with 2 runs scored. Haranek, a force to be reckoned with. And Leo, I'm not sure if you remember this or not. You might, since your brother, some fans might not know, but your brother, of course, was with the Eastside Diamond Hoppers back in year 1. Had
That's
a pretty good season. But Haranek, last year, I don't know why I was going back to the initial inaugural season. I had a brain fart there for a second. But last year, Haranek's first year, he had 12 straight games with a hit to start the year. The longest hitting streak in all of the USPBL history. But he'll get humanized here as he is retired for the first time today. That unassisted play at first by by the first baseman, Stephen Wells Jr.
Yep. And speaking of not getting retired yet, TJ Ward yet to be retired, 2 for 2. And that RBI single back in the first, walked in the second, and a solid single to center field back in the 5th. This 3-4 punch for the Beavers has been working wonders so far this afternoon.
TJ Ward, meanwhile, first pitch he tried to hold back on as he was not happy with the called strike by the first base umpire, who having a tough day out there. Ward, meanwhile, ready for the 0-1 now to Walby. This one well upstairs at 91. Ward had to turn the head. It's the count now even at 1-1. Ward, like Haranek, yet to have been retired today, as the third baseman with 2 singles and a walk to his credit so far. He's also came in to score twice. First time against Walby last inning in the 5th, he did single. This one, broken bat. Line drive over there to the shortstop, who is at the moment Steve Pasquale. But we are through 5.5 at Jimmy John's Field. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the sixth we go. It'll be Sonny Cortez, Ethan Whiskers, Stephen Wells Jr. due up for Westside. And what they hope to be the first inning that they can get to Austin Steinfort, who's been cruising through this one. No runs allowed. He's got just 2 hits off of the bats of the Mammoths. It was Dobson back in the first. He's no longer in this game, but it was Cortez who singled back in the third. As he looks at ball 1, count evens up. But overall, a tough day mentally for these Mammoths. They haven't been able to execute anything against Steinfort, who has not thrown in any public games just yet. But he's been dealing. And then in terms of, obviously, the results there with that grand slam call, it's one of those situations is this ball getting into that bullpen where the Mammoths are at. It's something that you got to mentally get over. It's tough when something doesn't go your way, and especially at that stage where it is accompanied by 4 runs.
Yeah.
It's something that's tough to get over, and something that they probably won't get over before this game is over, as the salt is still there.
Yeah.
But overall, you got to take it, as much as you can, not think about it. You got to take it one pitch at a time to try and claw your way back into this baseball game.
That's right. And they lose Wiedemeyer as Sonny Cortez takes the walk. They lose Ryan Dobson, their leadoff hitter. And also coming off a very tough loss last night against the Hoppers. They had the chance to win it with Ethan Whisker coming to the plate, who's now going to step up for the Mammoths. But Whisker, if you watched yesterday's game, had the bases loaded with 2 outs, tie ball game. A single would have won the game for the Mammoths, but he struck out swinging. And then the Hoppers with 5 runs in the 10th. The Mammoths could not match that, so it's been 2 tough ones in a row for the Mammoths, who can't seem to get it going offensively this afternoon.
In terms of Steinfort, I'm confused a little bit because our in-game host, Brooke Fletcher, was down on the field talking with Chris Newell, as this one, meanwhile, into center field, trying to make the catch is Farlow on the dive backwards, but he will not be able to corral it. So runners now on first and second, as Whisker, the beer batter of the game, gets a base knock. For anybody in the bathrooms or up in the suites, head down to the left side, the third baseline on the concourse. You can get $5 craft beers, 16 ounces, of course, provided by Brooks Brewing and Sherwood Brewing Company. But back to what had alluded in that break in the middle of the 6th inning, Brooke Fletcher, our in-game host, had been talking with Chris Newell, the manager of the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, and asked, about how Steinfort was doing and everything like that. And Chris said nothing but nice things, but he said if Steinfort allowed another walk, he was going to pull him, and that's how he started the inning, but he's still out there. So Chris maybe trying to put a little scare into his starter, but he's going to stick with him, even though he's given up a walk and now a single to Cortez and Whisker. Stephen Wells Jr. up there now, as still nobody getting loose out in that Birmingham Bloomfield bullpen. So this is Steinfort's inning. He's got the commanding 7-0 lead, so even if he, at worst, were to give up a home run to Stephen Wells Jr., still have enough runs to be doubling up the opposition, as the wind's starting to blow out to left field now as the 1-0 fastball called strike on the outside black.
And Steinfort has not been throwing many strikes in this game now with 4 walks, but has pitched in some difficult situations back in the first and second innings. Quite a few base runners for the Mammoths, but Mammoths just not able to hit in the clutch so far.
Yeah, they went through the order in just 2 innings, but in the third, just 4 batters, and then the fourth and fifth, just 3 each. So Steinfort, a really good middle of this game, but we're still in the middle of it, as he's got 2 runners on and nobody out. Needs one here. Breaking ball hung in the air. Campana looks like he's got a beat on it. Going to try and go to third is Cortez, but look at the toss from Campana. A little bit to the left of the bag, but for the most part on the line, at least on the line enough to not allow the speedster Cortez to advance. So that's the 3rd time today we've seen Campana catch a fly ball with runners on. So that arm out there in center, well known by the opposition, not just in this game, but in the league as a whole.
Definitely quite the arm out there in center. A great offensive and defensive player. It's exactly what you want out of a center fielder. It'll be Jake Polchin here, the designated hitter.
Good stop from Gauthier behind home plate. But yes, Polshan on the day, 0 for 1, did strike out on the drop third strike that was finalized by Gauthier and Haranek, but did walk on a full count back in that long second inning. Didn't do enough to come around to score yet, but he's got an opportunity to drive in a pair, as without a doubt he went around. I'm not sure how the home plate umpire did not see that, but hey, you know what? Not trying to show him up, but it has without a doubt been a tough day for them.
Yeah, it definitely has. Surprised that he went to the appeal there, but he gets the right call this time.
So the count even at 1-1 on Polshan. Barbie in the on-deck circle. He's eager to see what he's got on the base pass. Is Gauthier. Can't hold on to that one. And we've seen Steinfort. Hey, here's the thing, and that's been the tale for as long as, you know, we've been around this game. If you're going to miss, you want to miss low. Don't want to leave something up, as this one does miss low. So now the count at 3-1 for Polshan. Good hitter's count.
A common theme for Steinfort throughout his whole outing has been missing low with most pitches. We saw it a lot in the first inning, and now we're seeing a lot of it here in the sixth.
The 3-1 fastball outside corner called strike 2, so that one's brought up out of the dirt. Good job for Steinfort to battle back. Mentioned how he had just 75 pitches through the first 5 innings, just 5 pitches in the 5th. But a lot more here this time around, as this one's lined into center field. Can Campana come underneath it? No, he can't. That one drops in. Everybody moving up 90 feet as the base knock in the books there. First hit of the day for Polshan, as it's Cortez on third, Whisker on second, and finally starting to see a body make its way to the right field bullpen. And that's, of course, one of the best men out of the bullpen out of any team in the league, and Matt Dallas getting told to hustle up out there to the bullpen, as Chris Newell's, of course, going to take his time making his way out to see Steinfort to try and give Dallas as much time as possible. But I got to imagine that he's not going to take him out just yet. You're still well out in front of this one, as it's going to be a conversation where, all right, here's the deal, boys. So Dallas is getting loose. You all understand our situation. Bases are loaded. You got one out. I'm giving you the opportunity to try and get out of this. Let's try and get a ground ball against the batter in Barbie, who, you know, on the day so far has struck out looking and flown out to center. But a guy who, you know, doesn't have anything in terms of hits more fly balls than grounders, as you could see an opportunity to get 2 for the price of 1 with Barbie up at the plate. Doesn't have an exuberant amount of speed. So an opportunity, to say the least, for Steinfort. Go out, get him a ground ball. Chris Newell will be happy.
And you got the wind blowing out a little bit. We know Barbie has some extra base power with 2 doubles. He's going to try to elevate the ball.
This one down the line. Looks like it's going to get out of play. Heads up to everybody over there in the Chevy Pavilion. That one,
I had the distance on it.
no doubt. That one probably about 340, just well foul. It's Barbie down to the count now, 0-1. Nowhere to put him for Steinfort. He's already got 5 walks on the day. Good job there from Gauthier to drop down. Transition from catcher to goalie. Keep that one in front of him. Barbie, calm, cool, collected, up there from the left-sided batter's box. The 1-1. Driven into center field. Campana backtracking on the track now, making the catch, throwing a line to third base, but it will not get there in time. Sliding in safely is that man, Polshan, just in the nick of time. But the sacrifice flyout goes down in the books, brings in Cortez. Everybody moving up 90 feet as the Mammoths finally on the board in this one.
Getting a nice round of applause, too. There's a lot of fans in the USPBL that may not have picked a team at this point in the season yet, so I'm sure they're glad to at least see the Mammoths gain a little revenge here, just at least putting up a run on the board.
Meanwhile, Shelby standing in now. He's 0 for 1. He grounded out to Steinfort. That ended the 4th inning, but did walk on a full count back in that long second. Steinfort doing everything he can to finish through this 6th inning and allow Dallas to take over in the 7th as this fastball misses away. Quickly 2-0 on Shelby. Good hitters count for a guy who we saw nothing really much but power in his time in affiliated baseball. Mentioned how he was a draftee out of high school. Got drafted a couple of times. This one misses away as well. So here's a situation where, yes, there's the runner, or the base open at first. And I guess Ryan Rivera is a whole lot less scary of an opponent as he's also 0 for 2 on the day. Shelby, the 3-0, looked at one near his head. And we'll see if Newell tries to let him finish this one or if he's going to give Dallas the nod. Here's the thing. It's all about the situation at hand. If that Beaver tally was just 2 and it was 1, without a doubt, Dallas would be coming in right here. But
That's right.
The 6-run cushion going to probably allow Steinfort to get through this 6th.
Yeah, and for someone like Rivera coming up to the plate, you know that he doesn't have really much power at all. He's not a guy you're most likely going to see hit one out of the park. Just 1 home run last year in 41 games in the Empire Professional Baseball League with the Puerto Rico Islanders. But still has the chance to drive in some runs here with the bases loaded. The second time that the Mammoths have loaded the bases. Loaded them in the 2nd, but could not strike.
And believe it or not, that was the only inning. Or excuse me, I take that back. They did have 1 left on base back in the 3rd, but outside of that lone base runner left on in the 3rd, they have not left anyone on other than in those 3 in the 2nd. Steinfort against Rivera. So far, the advantage has been Steinfort. This ball chopped to the right side. Over there is the second baseman, Ordonez, who can't come up with that one. So the Mammoths getting their 2nd run of the day on that E4. Coming in to score is Whisker. Going over to 3rd is Polshan. Shelby follows to 2nd. Rivera reaching on the error. And looks like Chris Newell is going to come out and take Steinfort out of this ball game, so he will in fact not be able to get through the 6th. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll give you Steinfort's final line and then tell you about the man coming in, Matt Dallas. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Still here in the home half of the sixth, the Mammoths with their 8th batter up to the plate in this frame. The day is done for the starter, Austin Steinfort, who finishes his day with 5 2/3 innings pitched, allows the 2 runs on 4 hits, of course in charge of both Polshan as well as Shelby and Rivera on the base path, so his earned run total not there just yet. He allowed 5 walks, did have 4 strikeouts to his name, as Steve Pasquale standing in. Looks at a pair of pitches from the new pitcher, Matt Dallas. First one for a ball, this one for a called strike. Matt Dallas coming to us from the University of Minnesota Crookston, the Boise, Idaho native in his 2nd season with the USPBL. One of the more predominant bullpen arms in this league, as the 1-1 pitch fouled off there at 96 miles an hour for Dallas, a guy who can really rear back and bring it. Mentioned in the last Beavers game how the Milwaukee Brewers were in attendance taking a look at Dallas, and we know how it's, for the most part, pitching that gets out of this league. I'd be shocked to see Matt Dallas in a Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver uniform when this season is all said and done. Meanwhile, though, Pasquale works the 2-2 count. Dallas on the season for Birmingham Bloomfield. It's been tremendous. A 1.12 ERA through 5 relief appearances, 8 innings pitched, just 5 hits allowed, 1 earned run, and how about this, Leo? 1 walk to 11 strikeouts.
Yep.
Couple of hops there to the second baseman, Ordonez. He's able to make the play this time around. The Mammoths almost bat around, but they get just 2 runs out of it. We head to the 7th. Beavers coming up to the plate. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 6 at Jimmy John's Field. The new arm on the bump is Andrew Carver. He misses the zone more than he would have liked, without a doubt. The day's done for Walby in relief. Tough day, accompanied by that tough call, as Gauthier had that grand slam hit off of him. He allowed the 4 earned runs, as that was a tough one for him, as now Carver struggling with the command, drills Caleb Longley with the hit by pitch, as the big fella nowhere near the zone in 2 pitches.
No.
So if I'm Alec Olin, I'd be a little hesitant up there at the plate.
And that's definitely not something that is intentional, for sure. 2 pitches that completely missed the strike zone. Andrew Carver was actually a draft pick back in 2017 of the Boston Red Sox in round 30 of that 2017 MLB draft, and did not play that much in rookie ball with them. Just 4 games, 2 innings, 5 earned runs in the minors with the Red Sox.
And you can tell already the command is nearly non-existent. Carver hasn't done awful through the first couple of outings in relief in the Mammoths uniform. His ERA is at 4.50. He's only thrown 2 innings. He hasn't given up any hits, but he's allowed 5 walks, so you can tell the command is clearly the issue for the 6'9" right-hander. Is even the pitch that looked like it was a strike, Smith can't hold on to it, and Olin works the count now 2-0. Is could be a long inning here for the Mammoths.
Yeah, and it was his control that was a problem for him as well with the Red Sox in rookie ball. In just 2 innings pitched, 6 walks and 4 hit batters. So the command is not there, but maybe has a pretty good fastball and some good off-speed stuff as well.
This one over the head of Olin, so you can tell that things aren't working for the right-hander, as Smith's going to go out there and try and do something. Not sure what he can do, but he'll try his best.
Now the scouting report says that Carver tops out at about 90, 91 miles per hour. So not the hardest thrower. Something that hard throwers do struggle with the most would be control. So it's surprising to see that Carver does struggle so much with his command. It's obviously been an ongoing problem for him, something that he's trying to fix here with the USPBL. 3-0 count here to Alec Oland. Pretty good day so far for Olin. The walk in the 5th, the single in the 1st. He's 1 for 2 and reached base safely twice.
He finds it. Crowd goes wild. Olin works the 3-1 count now. Is finally through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitches it takes him to find the zone. A 3-1. That one somewhat close, but won't be able to get that one. You got to earn your strike zone, as runners now on the corners for Birmingham Bloomfield. Adam Gauthier standing in.
And as we know, Adam Gauthier back in the 5th, that controversial, what was ruled a grand slam, obviously drove in 4, should have been a ground rule double. It's kind of been a pivotal moment, you could say, in this game, as the Beavers put up that 4th spot in the 4th. The runs coming in bundles so far, 3 in the 1st, 4 in the 5th. Westside finally put up 2 last inning, but 7-2 ball game here. Beavers finally with some good offense this week after struggling twice in their 2 games earlier in the week, as they were shut out once. Finally, their offense comes alive.
Gauthier takes a big cut. The thing that we have to remember, Leo, is yes, that home run call, clearly controversial, but there was only 1 out with bases loaded, and it would have at least been a ground rule double. So you know it would have at least brought in 2 more, put Oland at 3rd, because he was on 1st. So still would have had runners on 2nd and 3rd with, just the 1 out.
Right.
The next at-bat, it was Ordonez who hit a big fly ball to right field, would have driven in at least another, and then Todd Weiss hit a double. So even though things didn't go your way, the stats are still there behind it that would have kept this one at least via a 4-run difference, but it's 5 at the moment as Gauthier having to duck out of the way of that one. I'm happy I'm up in the booth and not in one of those batter's boxes because Carver's having just a world of trouble here with his command.
Yeah, you saw the pitch before the last. Runner ends up moving up to second. Second and third with the infield in for the Mammoths.
And that one behind him as well. Barbie going to try and make a play at the plate, sliding in safely, just touching that front corner of that bag. And that, of course, would be Longley. So he comes in to score. Over there to third goes Olin. Gauthier remains up at the plate. It's now 8-2, Birmingham Bloomfield.
Gauthier also with 5 RBIs. He had that sac fly back in the first, so productive day for him. That pitch not even close either.
And look at
Another
this.
run's going to come home.
Tough scenario for the Mammoths right-hander as there is another right-hander getting loose out in that bullpen, but a tough C here for the right-hander, and Brian Kluppy is going to come out, and I'm guessing and hoping that, yep, he's going to go to that bullpen. So the 9th run of the game comes in for the Beavers. Carver's day is done as quick as it had started, and we'll take a quick break, let you know who's coming in as we have a runner on with nobody out here in the top of the 7th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And we're back here in the top of the 7th inning. Andrew Carver has a tough day. Could barely find the strike zone. A hit by pitch and a pair of walks, giving the Beavers the now 9-2 lead. It's Adon Ordonez standing in. He's 0-2 with a pair of flyouts to right field alongside a base on balls way back in the first on 4 pitches. But one Andrew gives way to another. This is Andrew Kramer pitching as this ball lofted high onto the warning track as underneath it is Rivera. Not an easy play as that one was right in front of the fence. But Kramer gets through at least the first out. It's Todd Weiss now standing in.
All right, Kramer has struggled this season, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, given up 6 earned runs, has walked 4 batters, but has struck out 4. product out of New York, went to Salisbury University. In 3 years in college, a 6.90 earned run average.
This ball into shallow left center field won't be an easy play. The center fielder, though. That's a great play there from the center fielder. And boy, did they need the out as Weiss gets one stolen from him. Two up, or not two up, but two down. Technically two up here for Kramer. So a good job here to get a pair of flyouts in this top of the 7th, trying to get out of this inning. Back to the top of the order we go, and Matt Farlow. On the day, 0 for 3 as he looks at called strike 1. Remember, Farlow did not start this ball game. He came in for Ryan Kemp after just the first inning. So we're hoping that Kemp will be okay, but overall, Beavers offense stringing for 9 runs on 9 hits. Mammoths don't have any errors up on the board, but for the team as a whole, Landis allowed 3 walks. And then, of course, Walby had one in there to Olin just before the home run to Gauthier. So that's 4, and then you saw 2 from Carver. So overall, tough day from the pitching staff for Westside as Farlow is down to the count 1-2. This ball popped up. It's going to stay in the field of play. Underneath it looks like it's Wells taking it charge in foul territory. The catch is made. We head to stretch time at Jimmy John's Field. It's 9-2 Beavers. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the 7th we go. Jackson Smith trying to give the Mammoths some life here. As that one hit on a line down to right field, but it's into the corner. As that was a good try there from the now catcher for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, as Smith had entered this game for Dobson after he was rung up on strikes to end the 5th and then was tossed out of the game after a brief word with the home plate umpire, Frank Barquette. So a long strike to start off the home half of the 7th. Matt Dallas back out there for another inning of work. A chopper over to the left side. T.J. Ward making the play on the run with the throw foot. Ends up getting the out. Came up for a second after he was over there on the pitcher's mound. Looks like he might have tweaked something for a second, but not bad enough to get him out of this game. He's a tough guy. The 5-3 putout is recorded. 1 up and 1 down here in the home half of the 7th.
And it's the second time that the Mammoths have seen Matt Dallas this week. Pitched an inning, like we mentioned, as the Brewers were in attendance. Walked just 1 batter and struck out 2, so it was a pretty good inning for him. And that one already has touched 96 with the fastball in this outing.
I think that might be a high for Dallas because I remember seeing 94 and 95 consistently, but the delivery value system created there by Justin Orenduff, our director of baseball operations, as Dallas hits 94 right on that inside black for called strike 2. He's one of those prime examples of how you can get from one place to another. Dallas has improved tremendously in his time in a Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver uniform. He leaves this 0-2 pitch over the strike zone, though. Fastball taken into left, Sonny Cortez, a good hitter. Mentioned how yesterday was 1 for 3 with a single and 3 walks. How about today? 2 for 2 with 2 singles, 2 walks, and a run scored.
He's been on base every time. Came in with a 500 on-base percentage this season, 1,000, of course, today. And it will be Ethan Whisker, who is 1 for 3 entering this at-bat. Single to center field his last time. It was a pretty soft hit ball for Whisker, but 2 multi-hit games the past 2 games, so look for another one right here.
This one, first pitch swinging, fouls it off over our heads here in the press box. Whisker, a good day in terms of at least later on. Singled just an inning ago and came in to score. Popped out to first and flew out to center. So far today, Cortez over there on the first base bag. Mention how he's fared not too bad on the base pass this year. He's 2 for 3 as the 0-1 fouled off again here, so quickly 0-2.
And if you remember back to the first, Cortez was caught leaning on first by Austin Steinford at the start. It was picked off. So maybe trying to steal back in the first. Obviously could not. A few base running blunders for the Mammoths back in the first, but does have some pretty good speed. The Mammoths down by 7. Got to wonder if they would take the risk to steal a bag.
Got to try something.
That's
down
true.
7, you got to start to make things happen. As how about that breaking ball? Pull the string. Textbook stuff there from Matt Dallas. And that breaking ball accompanied with the mid-90s fastball is going to be the reason that he gets out of here one day, which we're hoping so. As Stephen Wells Jr. stands in over 2 with a pair of flyouts and a walk to his credit.
Yeah, and Matt Dallas's ability to change speeds, mix up locations with that good breaking ball, that hard fastball, something that you don't see a ton of here in the USPBL at this level. Matt Dallas is just another breed compared to some of the guys in the league. He's got to be one of the top pitchers and has the hitters guessing. As Stephen Wells takes a half-hearted attempt right there.
Yeah, I mean, that was about as evident as you could describe Matt Dallas. You saw that breaking pitch. Stephen Wells Jr. completely fooled on that one. And Matt Dallas, he's got all his stuff working, and for good reason. As the 0-1. Broken bat. Hurt it well. As Dallas can really do it all. That one thrown hard. Nothing Wells was going to do with it. He's going to have to get a new piece of lumber.
And Matt Dallas, of course, in his second season now in the USPBL, an all-star last year for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. 28 games, 47 2/3, 3.59 ERA, 46 strikeouts, a pretty high walk total with 37, but did tally 3 saves. And so far this season, just 1 walk over 8 innings entering his appearance today. So the walk numbers have been a lot better. The strikeout numbers over a batter per inning. So things definitely looking up for Dallas. Having some teams already look at him this season. So we might not see him too much longer. Going to cherish it while it lasts, maybe.
Without a doubt. He's trying to retire Stephen Wells Jr. on 3 straight pitches and get back-to-back Ks. We'll see if he can do it. Cortez not going anywhere. Looked as if he might have went around, but he held off just enough. Works the count 1-2. Stays alive for at least one more. The 1-2. Fastball upstairs at 94. Swung on and missed. Dallas gets strikeout number 2 in the frame. We head to the 8th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. It's been all Birmingham Bloomfield in this contest as they try to get their 3rd win of the season. It'll be Nick Campana, Jack Aranek, TJ Ward, the brute, I should say, of this lineup. As Campana quickly 0-2 to start this at-bat. Started the day off well with a single and then came in to score a run, but since then the pitching has been able to get a hold of him. Now 2nd strikeout of the day, 1 up and 1 down for the Beavers. Excuse me, in the top of the 8th. So we changed the scoreboard around there for a second.
It'll be Jack Haranek coming up, finally retired back in the 6th, but he's 3 for 4, 2 doubles. Came in with just 2 extra base hits this season, but already 2 in this ball game. Seeing the ball well.
That one into right. Looks like an easy play for Ethan Whisker. Haranek, first pitch swinging. And he is retired. 2 up and quickly 2 down here to start this 8th. Not a bad sign for Kramer, who's out there in his first full inning of work. So TJ Ward now standing in, looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. Ward, a tremendous day thus far. A pair of singles, a pair of singles, a walk, and 2 RBIs and 2 runs to his credit. He's been able to be in production for 4 of these runs of the 9 as the 2-0 called strike on the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, Kramer's working with a pretty quick pace out there. Seems to be working so far already, the 2 quick outs this inning.
The 2-1. Breaking ball at just 68 miles an hour. It's About as slow as my curveball was back in my day.
Yeah.
As Ward was well out in front of that one. It's not something you can really be ready for when you're used to seeing high 80, low 90 stuff. The 2-2. Cheddar upstairs. Ward has to get out of the way of that one. We seem to have to do that a couple of times today. But in the end, he works the count full.
Now it looks like they're trying to pitch him inside. Ward's had a good day at the plate, 2 for 3. That 2 RBI single back in the first, also a single in the fifth, and a walk in the second.
Payoff pitch, breaking ball, not squeezed by Jackson Smith, as the inning will continue. So here comes Longley. 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts to right field, but reached base safely twice so far today. Reached on a 4-pitch walk in that long first inning, and then was drilled by that pitch by Carver that started his day. So Longley ready. First pitch, fastball upstairs, misses. 1-0 the count.
Yeah, Carver came in and struggled with his control. Kramer, for the first time, really struggled with his control last at bat against Ward, but has been pretty good since entering this game.
That one hit well, foul. Hit hard, but nowhere near the field of play. The count evens up at 1-1. While we do have a little bit of slowness here, want to mention to you, obviously we had the 5-game weekend here that started back on Thursday between these two teams. It was all Westside in that one, but it's been all Birmingham Bloomfield to end the weekend. But for next weekend, we won't start until Friday, as it'll be another Fireworks Friday Spectacular. It'll also be Meet the Mammoths night, as the Mammoths will host the Utica Unicorns. But most importantly, for all my chips out there, it'll be CMU night at the ballpark. And then we transition into the month of June as Longley looks at called strike 2. Nice breaking pitch there from Kramer. It'll be Boy Scout night. Mutt's Gone Nuts in the house, presented by Boy Scouts of America, Eastside, and Utica on Saturday. And then Sunday, it'll be the Beavers and Hoppers in the 2018 championship rematch, as it'll be another Sunday fun day as the top of it is concluded. Jackson Smith catches that one for the third and final out. The Ward walk is stranded as we head to the home half. Polshan, Barbie, Shelby due up. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the 8th we go. Rich Borland, Leo Ortzel with you. Birmingham Bloomfield with the 9 spot. 3 in the first, 4 in the 5th, 2 more in the 7th. Mammoths with 2 runs in the home half of the 6th. Jake Polshan coming in on the day as he looks at the second pitch of the at-bat. Count evens up at 1-1. A 1-for-2 day thus far with a single and a walk to his credit. Did strike out once. Polshan, the right-handed hitters, hitting just below 300 coming into today's action. A tough situation as he'll have to deal with Matt Dallas as Polshan fouls off the third pitch of the AB as that one goes into the stands. Looks like a fan getting a nice souvenir there. Good catch as the crowd applauds. And that's what it's all about right there. The ball's caught by a average baseball fan, and he hands it to the little kid in front of him in the front row. So a good job there from that sir as Polshan fouls off another one, continuing to fight against Dallas here and trying to avoid the inevitable, which is usually not a good result for hitters against Matt Dallas.
It was 3 straight fastballs to begin the at-bat, and then we just saw him go back to the breaking ball right there. Looks like maybe another breaking ball right here with the fastball.
And see, that's exactly what Matt Dallas can do. You're expecting something, and nope, you're getting something different. Yep. Polshan looked like he might have been expecting something more off-speed as he didn't get that bat to the baseball in time. Hits it well foul to the right. Maybe Dallas comes back with another off-speed pitch here. The 1-2. And there it is. It's hung. Maybe Polshan was ready for it this time around. Put a good piece of wood on it, but Campana ranging out there in center to his left, our right, makes the catch with ease. 1 up and 1 down for Westside to start the bottom of the 8th. Barbie standing in.
It looked like maybe he went with the changeup there and hung it over the plate. Didn't seem to have a ton of east and west action on it, but still able to get the out there. It'll be Jake Barbie, who last time around had that RBI sacrifice fly, one of just 2 runs that the Mammoths have put on the board. That came back in the 6th.
Mention how Barbie, who pinched hit in the game late yesterday, ended up getting 3 plate appearances and took advantage. Had 2 doubles last night. Also drove in a run with one of those, but it was too late as the Hoppers had, once they got into extra innings, took full advantage of it, put a 5 spot in that top of the 10th as Barbie looks at his 2nd consecutive ball. Looks as if this is Dallas's inning. Not sure if he's going to be the one to complete it in the 9th, but the 2-0 swung right over. Barbie now at 2-1. So far through the first 3 weekends, as we're almost complete in this one, mentioned how it was all Utica through the first couple of weekends, but they dropped down to 6-2 at the end of this weekend. Eastside with a pair of wins. They win their 2 games over the weekend, which is huge for Paul Nochi's staff as Eastside moves up to 4-3. Barbie, meanwhile, fouling off a pitch, 2-2 the count. And then in the West is where things are still trying to get figured out between these 2 teams. Birmingham Bloomfield coming into today's game 2-4. Westside with that really tough loss yesterday, dropping to 2-5, and now another one, as it looks like, is this one inside to Barbie, as he has to really get out of the way of that one. No hostile acts there as Barbie gives back the wave to Dallas. These both returning men. The respect is there for each other. But if I'm Matt Dallas, I'm going to try and paint that outside black after that one. The 3-2. And there it is. He couldn't hold on to it, could Gauthier. It looked like a strike, but Gauthier's had a couple of issues today, not being able to squeeze these pitches.
Yeah, and you saw Matt Dallas a little bit frustrated that that wasn't called a strike. And also, Gauthier turned right around after he dropped it, looked at the home plate umpire, maybe trying to get the call. But as a catcher, you're usually not going to get that call if you don't catch the baseball. That's just how it goes.
So here comes Javon Shelby. Pair of walks to his credit thus far. One was on a full count, the other was on 4 straight. So a little bit of different scenarios for this young man as Dallas drops in the breaking ball to start the at-bat to Shelby, called strike 1. Really good pitch there to start off this at-bat.
And Shelby, the only bat in this lineup with a home run, but a pretty low batting average in 217. 0 for 1 today and 0 for 5 last game, so it needs to get it going.
Gauthier has to drop down and make the play. Keeps the runner Barbie over there at first. Barbie on the season. Take a quick look. He is 1 for 1 on the base paths, but he's reached base safely for the first time today after having a fly out to center. One via the sacrifice, one via just the norm, and then did strike out looking back to start his day. Meanwhile, Shelby taking a big cut and a big miss, and the count now drops to 1-2. So Dallas would love a ground ball that could turn to 2, but Shelby doesn't hit a lot of baseballs on the ground. The 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. Dallas will take the strikeout. That's strikeout number 3 on the day for him. So a walk splits the first 2 outs in this inning. And it's now Ryan Rivera's turn. 0 for 3 with a fly out, a ground out, and a reach on an error.
A great pitch there from Matt Dallas. Went back to the off-speed pitch. Had Shelby way out in front of it. Shelby probably hunting for the fastball, but did not get it.
Barbie on first, Rivera batting from the left side. Dallas continuing to work here in this home half of the 8th. First pitch breaking ball again as he had thrown to Shelby. Misses the zone low.
Last time up, Rivera grounded one over to second base. Looked like it was going to be routine, but Adano Ordonez did make an error. That's when the other run for the Mammoths came around to score.
As we're still getting into the USPBL season into Week 3 here, can't forget the big game tonight. I know you know that one, Leo. Stanley Cup Finals getting started.
Gotcha. Yeah. Blues versus the Bruins.
Correct. Go Blues, because everybody outside of the state of Massachusetts is definitely sick and tired of seeing those Boston folks seeing ring after ring after ring. Could you imagine, and I don't know if maybe you can do a little research as we continue on through the rest of this one, but obviously the Red Sox, World Series champions here this past season.
Patriots,
you got
Super
the
Bowl.
Patriots, the Super Bowl champs. How many times in the history of sports has one city been able to crown 3 champions all in the same year?
Boston, definitely a sports town. Detroit, the past few years, not much of a sports town. Obviously in the past couple of years, but definitely some good teams with the Tigers back in 06, 2012. The Red Wings appeared in back-to-back Stanley Cups in 08 and 09. Just got the one in 08.
And
Try to do some research here.
take a quick look. Yeah, at the moment, doesn't look like there's anybody that had been able to do it. Ready for this? We got some help here from one of our interns, as looks as if, take a look at that, Leo. We got to go all the way back about 90-plus years, 1935. Take a guess. Tigers, Lions,
Really?
and Red Wings. Since
Wow.
then, Pittsburgh in 1979, Pirates and Steelers with championships.
Okay.
1986, of course, New York. That doesn't really count, though, because they each get about a couple of teams per sport. But the Mets and Giants back in 1986 as Pasquale fouls off the first try. And then in Los Angeles in 1988, the Dodgers and Lakers won it the same year. Shocked that that's the only time that in L.A. that the Dodgers and Lakers won in the same season, because it just felt like there was always so much success. And then, of course, in 2004, the Red Sox and Patriots winning the championships for them, but able to do it so far this year, the Red Sox and Patriots, and could only imagine the Bruins being able to cap off that trio of victories.
Yeah, and also I have another stat here. Philadelphia back in 1980 had all 4 of their teams play in championships, but only one team with the win. Obviously, the Eagles, 76ers, the Phillies, and the last one's crossing my mind, the Flyers for hockey.
That's a tough year. You get 4 opportunities and you go over. That's some Buffalo Bills type conversation.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back in between the lines here as we're getting ready to conclude this Memorial Day weekend. The 6, the 4 put out is recorded. Mammoths ran some runners in the home half of the 8th. We head to the 9th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 8 at Jimmy John's Field. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you as this one hit well, but it's going to go foul into the bullpen where the Mammoths are. Is another inning of work here for Mr. Kramer. Kramer, who had came into the game today with an 11.57 ERA through 3 appearances. 4 2/3 innings pitched. He allowed 6 earned runs on 7 hits, but some good stuff so far today in relief after the tough day. Meanwhile, Alec Olin grounding out to shortstop quickly for out number 1. Here comes Adam Gauthier, who had that controversial grand slam back in that top of the 5th.
That's been a good day for Gauthier. Also that sac fly back in the 1st, which was the 3rd run of that inning for the Beavers.
As this one, first pitch swinging, Gauthier pops one up into shallow center field. I should pretty much say that was at the edge of the infield as Javon Shelby just making contact with that outfield grass. Makes the catch for out number 2. So quickly 2 up and 2 down on 2 pitches. It's exactly what the doctor ordered here in this top of the 9th. The 7-run lead for the Beavers as Ordonez swung and was recorded out in his last 2 at-bats, both on first pitches. So can Mr. Kramer come through with 3 pitches? No, he can't. That shows Ordonez's baseball IQ right there as he allows one to travel by. It's a strike for Kramer, but he's going to be ready to go now. He's down 0-1 quickly as here it comes. This one a bit low, evens the count up at 1-1. On the day officially, 3 flyouts for him, 2 to right, 1 to left, but did reach on the base on balls in that 9-batter affair in that top of the first inning. Kramer with the breaking ball. My goodness, there was a lot of cut on that, but he wasn't given the benefit of the doubt. Looked good from up here.
Yeah, 66 miles an hour on that one. Definitely the slowest one we've seen him throw. Got that good 12-6 action on it. Changes speeds from about 66 at a low to about 84 or 85 at a high with his fastball. So isn't the hardest thrower, but when you've got a curveball touching that low, it throws the timing of the hitters off tremendously.
See what he brings on the 3-1. Fastball, hit, chopped hard to the third baseman, Barbie, and I knew it before it was going to happen. He let that hop travel to him, and in case, or because of it, that one gets past him. So we do not have a 1-2-3 ninth, as it'll be Todd Weiss coming up to the plate, as I haven't seen a ruling just yet. Got to imagine that it's going to be an error, and in fact, official.
Yep.
So Barbie is charged with the error. 4 low. Or excuse me, Weiss standing in. Not to the top of the order just yet. Weiss on the day 1 for 4. Double to his credit that he hit out to right field. And then, other than that, a pop out to first, a fly out to center, and struck out looking back when he started the 4th frame. Down in the count 0-1 to start this at-bat.
Yeah, almost a hit in the 7th, but if you remember, Sonny Cortez made that awesome diving catch.
This one lined to short. Over there at the position is Pasquale. He catches that one on the run. As we head to the home half of the 9th, Mammoths need a miracle as we end Memorial Day weekend. You're coming up here in the home half of the 9th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Just shy of the 4 o'clock hour, the left-hander, Dylan Collette, coming in for Matt Dallas. Dallas does a good job through his couple of innings of work. Doesn't allow any runs, and that's really all that matters, as he also had 3 strikeouts to his tally, is giving way to Collette here, one of the 3 left-handers on this Birmingham Bloomfield roster. A returner who in 2018, 19 2/3 innings pitched in 19 relief outings, a 1-0 record, had 4 saves, under his belt. Just 5 walks to 24 strikeouts as the 1-1 breaking pitch. Chopped to the left side. Going to have to get it over there quickly if you're Ward. But he does, in fact, as for the second consecutive time this afternoon, Jackson Smith grounding out to that third base position. But back to Collette in terms of the 2019 season. Colette's ERA is at 4.91, but of course a small sample size. Does have a 1-1 record through 5 relief outings, 7 in the third innings pitched, 4 earned runs on just 10 hits. 1 walk to 6 strikeouts is the big component that you have to pay attention to. A guy who not only can throw strikes, but he's got the good stuff accompanied with it. As Sonny Cortez stands in for the 5th time today, and he's yet to have been retired. 2 walks, 2 singles, and a run scored. The one bright spot for the Mammoths in this day as he's ready for the 1-0. The kick, the push, breaking pitch. I mean, you can just kind of get that sense that Colette's kind of got some different kind of stuff, like Dallas, for this team. These relievers, it's a really good back end of this staff for Chris Newell, and if they can get into the later stages of baseball games with leads, it's going to be a really, really good sign. But for this, Sonny Cortez just continuing to just maul pitching, as coming into today's contest, Sonny Cortez sitting at the top of this Westside batting average list as it's .370 coming into play today. The on-base percentage, like you said earlier, Leo, at the 500 mark, but that is going to be just going up and up as the goes on, and it looks like Colette's day is actually done. So we'll take a break and let you know who's coming in to pitch, as the lefties' opportunity has been smited. We'll give a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. As the day ends for Dylan Collette, the day starts for Gabe Berman, the Bronco out of Western Michigan, and the South Haven, Michigan native coming in to shut the door in this one. Berman's ERA is at 7.36 on the year through 4 relief outings in 3 2/3 innings pitched. Has allowed 3 earned runs on just 3 hits. He's only got 3 walks allowed. So in terms of the season so far for Gabe Berman, it looks as if maybe just some untimely hitting against him, as this one off the netting right in front of the grandstands here. Whisker quickly down in the count, 1-2, but can't get over the fact of what Sonny Cortez has been able to produce, not just today, but in the week as a whole, and he's a primetime candidate for the USPBL Player of the Week in Week 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Sonny Cortez, 7 for 10 this week with 7 walks, 5 runs batted in. Definitely could be up there in Player of the Week. Can't really do much better than a 700 batting average. And on base percentage, it's got to be 800 or 900 at least. Pretty incredible week for Cortez. Standing on second, Ethan Whisker up at the plate looking for his 3rd straight multi-hit game.
This one into shallow center field. Who's going to take charge? It looks like it might be the shortstop Farlow, and in fact it is. So now 2 outs as Gabe Berman continuing on for Dylan Collette. Whiskers retired. His day ends 1 for 5 with a single, a run scored, 2 flyouts to center, and a pop out to first as all of a sudden the Mammoths down to their final out on this 5th game of this Memorial Day weekend. He's still looking for his first knock of the day. Walked and reached 3rd in the 2nd, but since then a fly out to right, a fly out to center, and a strikeout. Have him 0 for 3 as he looks at called strike 1 to begin his last at-bat of the afternoon.
Yeah, and Enter just hitting 118, so could be demoted in the lineup. You might see someone like Jake Barbie or Polchin get promoted the next time the Mammoths play.
I know one thing. Sonny Cortez and Brian Dobson, a lethal 1-2 punch up at the top.
Yeah.
Dobson didn't have as good of a day as he was actually thrown out of that game after his strikeout in the 5th, but Sonny Cortez has definitely made a name for himself and will be one of the marquee players this season for the Mammoths, pending if he stays here all year, of course.
That's right. Good first season for him in the league.
Gabe Berman, the 1-2. Foul ball. Wells stays alive for at least one more.
It's turning into another good pitching performance for the Beavers. Berman looking to close it down.
And in fact he will. Swing and a miss. Wells for the 2nd consecutive at-bat. He goes down via the chase. And that'll do it. Your Memorial Day weekend is in the books as the Beavers take this one by a final score of 9-2, courtesy of some timely hitting in the 1st inning, the grand slam in the 5th, and then 2 more in the 7th frame. But overall, a good weekend of baseball here at Jimmy John's Field. The Beavers moving up to 3-4 on the season. Mammoths dropping into last as they now are at 2-6. It was a fun weekend of baseball, but it's the Utica Unicorns that remain on top in this one. Leo, your overall thoughts on today and the weekend as a whole?
Yeah, right from the get-go, the Beavers really just took charge right in the 1st inning, put up 3 runs there, and scored a few runs later in the game, but a solid pitch game by their starter, Austin Steinford. Of course, RBIs, TJ Ward with 2, Adam Gauthier with that questionable grand slam, ended up driving in 5. Pretty overwhelming victory for the Beavers, who earlier in the week did struggle a lot offensively, but finally able to get it going here against the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Back-to-back tough losses for the Mammoths, as there were some questionable calls from both umpires in this game that did not go in favor of the Mammoths, but a different story than yesterday. It was more of a tough loss that maybe they could have come back as they had the bases loaded yesterday, had the chance to win it, but here kind of just an onslaught from the Beavers. Finally picked up the bats this week.
Yeah, and speaking of the bats, before we sign off for the week, as we were talking for a second about how well Sonny Cortez had done this week, I just want to kind of give the overall numbers for him and then another player that we were thinking might be the player of the week for Eastside. But so far on the season, Sonny Cortez, how about this? 12 hits in 29 at-bats, a .414 batting average. He's got 11 runs scored in 8 games, just the 3 RBIs. He's got 1 double as his only extra base hit, but he's got 9 walks in the 8 games, 2 stolen bases, just 3 strikeouts to his name. On-base percentage of .553, slugging percentage of .448, and then how about this on the other end of it for who we think might be the other option for the USPBL Player of the Week? You got Pat Adams of the Eastside Diamond Hoppers, through his first 8 games in the Eastside lineup, he's got 13 hits, so 1 more than Cortez in 1 more at-bat with 30 at-bats. He's got 4 less runs scored than Cortez with 7, but in total, 2 more RBIs. He's got 5 RBIs on the season, a double, a home run, 4 walks. I mean, it is some good stuff, but I think the edge might go to Cortez just a little bit. Our PA announcer suggested co-players of the week, which we've never seen, but always time first for everything. Is
not a bad idea.
That would not be a bad idea. But overall, the Beavers moving up to 3-4 with the 9-2 victory over the Westside Woolly Mammoths. We'll be back in action, both Leo and myself, this upcoming Friday, as we'll have our Friday Fireworks Spectaculars. It'll be Meet the Mammoths night, as they'll take on the Utica Unicorns. First pitch, 7:05, as we'll be back on the YouTube channel at 6:50 on Friday night. It'll also be CMU night at the ballpark. And with that, I say fire up chips to all my Chippewas out there. But for everybody that's tuned in this weekend and today on this Memorial Day, we're happy that we've been able to be a part of your holiday afternoon. But for my broadcasting partner, Leo Ortel, my name is Rich Borland. You stay classy,